Let's settle down for a second so I can talk to y'all for a second. I got a problem. The day before I got on the plane to come out here, me and my girl broke up. Yeah, we broke up. And it was over something really, really silly. Something we shouldn't have broken up over. But it is. It is what it is. We broke up, and here I am in Ethiopia tonight. Question. Is there anybody out there single that broke up with a man and they looking for somebody else right now? You gotta be single. You gotta be single. Single ladies, put your hands in the air right now so I can see you. It's so many. I'm confused. Single ladies, single ladies. Now, I would like to get to know you and talk to you and have a drink or something, and we can just have something to eat and just. But at the end of the conversation, I'm going to want you to come back to America with me. I know I am. So you got to be willing to split the difference. Come to America and see me. I come out here to see you in Ethiopia. But it's so hard to get back and forth, Problem. How am I going to get you from Ethiopia to America? Let me think.
Shout out to those tuning in, just playing this song because what I witnessed this morning, oh, I almost crashed my car, but anyway.
I got it. Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America? America. Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America? America. America.
I need to have this as my sound check song. I gotta have this song as my sound check. No doubt.
Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Who wants to come back with us to America? To America.
Yeah, this is definitely. I'm not brave enough though. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not brave enough to have that as my sound check song, so I'm not even gonna hold you. Oh man, I'm not brave enough to have this as my sound check. But let me show you why we're all here today. Texas bill. This is what I saw today that almost I when I heard it, I almost lost my mind when I heard this. Nearly lost my whole head. My whole head. Nearly lost my whole head. So, apparently in Texas, they're trying to introduce a bill. Obviously, it's not in law yet. It's not, it has to be passed through the House first, obviously, right? But they're trying to pass a bill where where a woman can put a man on child support. I'm talking about before the child even comes out. Retroactive child support. Yes, this is real, guys. Yes, this is real. Yes, this is real. Let me see if I play this, if they're going to actually explain the whole thing. Let me see this.
Currently, child support cannot be ordered by a court until a baby's born, and then you can file a suit affecting the parent-child relationship and get child support ordered, but only after the baby's born.
So how would the law change if this measure becomes the law?
So what this law does is attach parental responsibility all the way back to conception. Now, what I don't know how they're going to do this is attach how they're going to attach the fatherhood when they don't have the ability to do that until the baby's born. But
now, that's probably not the best explanation, but let me read it. How would Texas SB N42 bill impact child support? Fathers could be ordered to pay child support from the moment of conception under a bill that passed the Texas Senate this week. The bill still needs to be passed through the House. Fox 26 senior legal analyst Chris Tritico talks about the impact of the proposed law. Wild work. This is really wild. So, mind you, this is in Texas, where the based people are, right? But Chris, my base, but Chris, vote Republican, and all this stuff. Now, how they pass something like this in Texas, and they still haven't passed mandatory paternity tests, but they passed this, and they don't even know how in the hell they're gonna pass this. Now, mind you, this was passed by mostly Republicans. And you know what I heard? I'm talking about through the Twitter sphere, and maybe it's not official. I heard that the people that opposed this it was a Power, watch this. Power, watch this. This is what I heard. I heard that it was a female Democrat congressman Senate member or Congress member that opposed the bill. It was the only few people that opposed the bill was a Democrat, a liberal female. Are you kidding me? So all these so-called based people, these so-called, oh man, men are becoming Republican, and look what they passing. Because at the end of the day, everything they do is they look through it in a female's lens. That's all they do. This is why I be going at the conservatives. And people wonder why, what are you talking about? Why are you not a Republican? Because I know y'all. I know you guys too well. Everything these motherfuckers, these people do is to see if they can impress women. Everything that they do is a dating strategy. Everything they do is just virtue signaling, but only for the right-hand side. Everything that they do is virtue signaling. They think it's just people just think it's just liberals that virtue signal. No, liberals, they virtue signal to things where like everything that they're doing, they try to push things towards socialism. That's their agenda and communism, right? What the conservatives do, particularly, it's kind of how it's always been, but I will say specifically now, what the conservatives do, everything that they do is they try to portray themselves as, they think by portraying themselves as the most family valued person, they think that's how they're going to attract women. So like you'll even see him like in the comment section, and I'm gonna call out a lot of people that's probably in this space, but I don't care. You'll even see them in the comment section. They always be bringing up religion, and they always be bringing up God and what it says in the Bible not to do and to do. Whenever a hoe is doing some hoe shit, right? Whenever a 304 is doing some 304 activities, then they want to start bringing up God, this and these girls are gonna burn in hell and all this stuff. They start bringing up all this stuff that does not matter, or these things that are really not gonna put a hoe in line. Then they start bringing up this flying spaghetti monster, right? This is, and then you'll be like, I don't think that's gonna work, but. But to pass, and then, or they'll be like, you'll even hear guys say this, like, no, we like, they'll find a girl, they'll find a really a reformed 304, and then they'll be like, no, we got to take this seriously. We're abstaining from sex before marriage, and they're taking, and I'm talking about it'll be a conservative guy with a reformed 304. And even though the woman looks presentable, but all she did was clean herself up a little bit. That's all she had to do. And they'll take her. No, we are abstaining before marriage. We're doing it the right way. And it's a reformed 304. And you're just looking at this dude with a blank face. You're like, oh okay. And it baffles my mind where you in a so-called male dominated conservative state, they can pass something like this where a man has to pay child support before the kid is even conceived. Why? Because at the end of the day, they can say I'm a based and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, they think that deadbeat dads are a thing. And that's why I keep saying that there's no such thing as a deadbeat dad. I keep trying to drill that into people's heads because I know there's a lot of Republicans that they don't even have the guts to say that shit. Because they know, because at the end of the day, if somebody that says something like this, you ain't getting no, like, you're going to really ruin your chances with the hoes when you say stuff like the stuff that I say on this channel is gonna ruin your chances on getting hoes. The stuff that MGTOW creators be saying is gonna ruin your chances to get hoes. This is why I also predicted that when Elon Musk was and guys like that was kind of addressing the red pill, but they were still calling red pill people incels and stuff. I was like, this is interesting. They're trying to distance themselves. So they will do stuff like this. They will pass laws like this to prove that, oh, we're not those incel losers. They will do stuff like this. Because when I say stuff like there's no such thing as a deadbeat dad or stuff like that, or you'll just say, well, at the end of the day, it's your fault if you're a single mom when you say stuff like that. At the end of the day, when you say stuff like that, they're like, I don't know about all that, Chris. I'm talking about it'll be the most gangster dudes I've met in my life. They don't even want to touch stuff. They don't even want to touch a subject like that because their mom was a single mom, right? But then I remember like they will pass stuff like this. Conservatives will pass laws like this, right? because this is gonna be I'm gonna be on the conservatives' next pause today. Like I remember when I was young, when I was more left leaning, I used to say stuff like this. This is what I used to say stuff like when I was like in high school and college when I was more left leaning. I used to be like, I used to say stuff like this. Bear with me. I used to say, dudes. How did I say it? I said dudes with small dicks plus a gun license equals chaos. I remember I put something like that in like I just put it out there. I put it in the comment section and then I said it in real life. And you should see how butthurt the conservatives got on when I said that shit. Now I was younger, so and I was more left leaning when I said something like that because and even though I'm an advocate for getting your firearms license, I'm an advocate for all people getting their firearms license. I'm talking about white dudes, black dudes, women, transformers. I'm an advocate for everybody getting their firearms license, right? But I felt the conservatives, they didn't really believe that. So, and when I looked at my real life, when I looked at what happens in the hood, when I see what happens with real life and stuff, I tend to notice the dudes that tend to pull out their guns real quick, always trying to escalate situations, are guys with a frustrated sex life. This is stuff that I noticed when I was younger. So that's kind of what I was poking fun of. And I remember the conservatives were at my neck when I was saying stuff like that. Like people I knew. And even during those times, I could detect that insecurity that a lot of these people have. So they tend to overcompensate. Now, people might think, "Oh, this is a stretch, Chris. This is a stretch." Everything these conservatives do, everything they do, just like the sneaky liberal, the male feminists on the liberal sides, everything that the male conservatives do, it's a dating strategy. Trust me, everything that they do. Truth Hunter said this is the ish that you would think would happen that would happen in New York City. Yeah, that you would think this would pass in New York City or one of these spots or Connecticut, because Connecticut's a liberal state now. People don't know that. Like Connecticut is a liberal state, but they're conservative with their money, if that makes sense. Like Connecticut, like people here are like more, they're liberal with their social views, but conservative when it comes to their money. So a normal state, really, but it's still a liberal state. Truth Hunter said, "Oh yeah, I've been sick a little bit. Same here." And then not only my health, like I haven't been posting as regularly, but this weekend I had 2 shows in a row. So 3 shows in a row. One on Friday, which was in Connecticut, and then one show in New York, and then another show in New York. So that was interesting. Thornstar, hey Trevor, what's up, man? Okay, so that makes sense. I was like, who's Thornstar the 5th? Now I know that's Trevor. Okay, you probably said that last time, but that the last time I did a live was like a week and a half ago or a week ago. Yeah, because I'm an advocate for everybody getting their firearms license. But what I detected from the conservatives, even then, I used to be like, because I used to kind of test a lot of these guys, particularly like, you had like there'll be certain conservatives that live here in Connecticut. They would talk slick, and I would detect that kind of stuff. I'll be like, oh yeah, man. I think, man, all ninjas got to get their gun license. I would say like little stuff like that, or I would tell, even then, even during that time, I said, I think all women need to get their guns licensed. They need to, I don't think they should be like learning how to fight men. And even like the conservatives then, even today, the female conservatives, they be getting mad when I say, look, I don't think women should be learning how to fight. They need to learn how they need to get a guns license. They need to get a firearms license, not so they can just brandish it, but they understand the responsibilities that come with it. And people might say, hey, it might be a bad idea for women to just have a firearms license. But what I noticed down south, people, they just walk around with that thing, and everybody's nice and friendly. They like when I'm in Florida, when I be visiting Florida, everybody's like, I'll say this, when I be in certain parts in Florida, right? Even the spots with the Confederate flag flying, people are very nice and respectful. You know what I mean? They have that gun. They got their thing right on them. You know what I mean? And people don't try it. People don't be raising their voices and stuff. Everybody speaks to each other in a respectful level because everybody got that thing on them. And I respected that. I like that. I was like, you know what? There might be something to that. You know what I mean? Because like when I was, I think, 2013, when I was visiting, when I went to a wedding in Florida via a family vacation, and I was visiting colleges during that time, even though I was a sophomore in high school. So, I remember going around a certain part of Florida. I don't know if it was Orlando. I don't know which city, and we just in the store. Mad respectful, very respectful. Everybody, people had their thing on them. You know, it helped. And I think there was certain parts in Connecticut. I think there's certain parts in Connecticut you can carry your thing. You know, and it gave me a different perspective because I used to not be a fan of that, but I noticed that, you know, when everybody has a gun on them, people speak to each other a little bit respectfully. I like that. All right. Truth Hunter says, I got attacked for saying children of single moms who don't have proper male role models make up a majority of school shooters. Well, technically, it makes up damn near all of them. People want to talk about whether they're white. Oh, white people be having shooters, or not, because now the school shooters are black now. I don't know, people been noticing. Right? Or if they're transformers. I'm like, nah, we missing the point. We missing the point. If you look at all of them were on some kind of medicine, and then you peel back the layer. Now let's peel back that layer. Why are they all on medicine? Then you look at them, damn near all of them single mom raised. Basically all of them. I don't think they're I remember they called one school shooter, right? It was a kid, but the only reason why they caught him is because I'm talking about there was one school shooter with two parents that they caught before he started shooting up the school. And they caught him because his parents basically gave him up indirectly, because they were able to go through both profiles of the parents, and they were able to intercept his text messages. So technically, even though he was a school shooter, because he was raised by both parents, he didn't have much leverage in terms of, he couldn't just go anywhere he wanted. He had two parents that were accountable for him. But the problem is when you're dealing with just a single mom raised household, or where the single mom is raising the kid, even with two parents, people are not even raising their kids nowadays. Now with a single mom, she has no authority over where her son is going, where he's not going, where he is going, right? So basically all of them. If you look at the profiles of all these school shooters, all of them were single mom raised. Basically all of them. I don't know why the conservatives can't put two and two together. The pastors definitely can't put two and two together, because they just encourage it, because they just love the money, and they just love the undying loyalty they get from single mammies in their ministries. But it's rare that you're gonna find like a church that condemns single motherhood. Remember like I don't know if you saw that news clip from I think 2 months ago or a month ago. I don't remember when it happened, but it happened earlier this year in 2025, where it was a young teenage woman that basically got she got put on blast. It was a black church too. She got put on blast for being pregnant without getting married. And people are like, why does church put her on blast like that? And I was like, this is a good church. I was like, this is a good church. This is a church that I would want to put if I had a daughter. I would maybe think about enrolling. I'm like, this is a good church. Like the pastor put her on blast. She's like, this woman here, she got pregnant, y'all, even though we had a plan and blah blah blah. I was like, I like that. This reminds me of like the church I went to when I was a kid. well, Caribbean churches, they operate a little bit differently, but I was like, this is a good church. But if it was an American church, she would have the kid. She'd become a born again virgin. They'll even given her a ring, and then she would have just claimed that and try to get a simp. Nope, they put her ass on blast. Salute to D-Man 50. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, man. But I'm an advocate for people registering for their guns license and them getting a proper background check, right? I'm an advocate of you know going through those classes, whatever, and all that stuff, and you register your firearms. I'm an advocate for that, or even I'm even I'm an advocate for open carry. I used to be bullish on it until you're in a state or you're in a city where it's like, no big deal. Or all you got to do is travel. Like there's certain countries in the Caribbean where you can just motherfucker will have a whole AK on their back. It'll just blow your mind. I don't even want to say what country. They'll have a whole boom firepower type weapon with you, just carrying it. And that joint would just like literally change your life. Okay. Let me also bring something up here. Let me bring something up here. Because I gotta teach. At the end of the day, I have to teach. I have to also give guidance to some of our younger members of this channel, right? One of our younger supporters on this channel. So I had dropped a video, and I'd be shocked when like videos that I drop, like certain videos like this, right? I dropped a video about this female box. If you are a man and you're not trained, my bad. So I dropped this video last week about the female boxer that said that she can beat most men in sparring, right? And we have, I don't know if you guys remember, he's come on the channel. Well, I remember one time he came on the channel, and I'm actually in communications with this guy. We communicate quite often. Probably obviously not as much as I communicate with Pyro. Obviously not as much as I communicate with Pyro or Lorette Hamilton, right? But I communicate with this young kid, Juiced Up Johnny, right? So I'm gonna use his comments not to put him on blast, but using this as a teaching moment for any of our younger viewers, because we also have a couple of younger female viewers, believe it or not. They just don't put their name out there. I've had certain people message my channel, message me via Instagram and say, "Oh, I like your stuff. I just can't put my information out there." There's certain young couples that follow my channel, believe it or not. Also, I had somebody that I played with. Him and his girl, they both follow my channel. They just don't put their information out there as well. So I have a lot of young people that do also take guidance. So I'm going to use this as a guidance moment. So right here, because Juiced Up Johnny is younger, he's like, I think he's like he's like in, yeah, he's like in his early 20s, right? So here he said he disagreed with my take on the female boxing situation. So right here, he said, I don't know. I disagree with your take here. So many dudes out here walking to gyms with that mentality that they can do anything or beat anyone up just because they're a man. I know it firsthand because I've been doing MMA for 3 years now. There's a lot of badass women in there. And the gym is 100% facts. An inexperienced man versus a trained woman. The woman comes out on top 8 out of 10 times. It's 10 out of 10 if the dude has that I see red and bodies hit the floor mentality. Now, I don't disagree. But the reason why I can't put that out there is because this is not a mentality I want to encourage. This is not something I want women to just take that and be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get boxing lessons and I'm gonna go to jujitsu and I'm gonna be a badass." No, don't. This is not something I want to encourage, right? Because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, I put the example like this. I could do a recruitment trip. Like I can just do a recruitment trip and get really good female soccer players, make a team, and then have them face inexperienced men that have never played soccer, and they would beat them. I could do that. I could get the best women, right, that can play soccer and put them against men that have never played soccer, and they would mop the floor with them. But that's not something to brag on, because who brags on being the best soccer player or the best sports player amongst people that don't even play the sport, right? So the female boxer bragging about her beating men at sparring or whatever, mind you, sparring. That's nothing to brag about, because you're beating up on men that don't really know the sport, or they don't really know what they're doing. And even then, because what's going to happen is those women, they're going to try to take that to the test. Right? Particularly, I will say, naive Caucasian women, they're going to get their ass beat up in real life, or they're going to get their dumb ass shot. Because I done seen dudes that get beat up by certain dudes and they didn't see it coming, and they get their pride hurt, and then all of a sudden they go to the trunk of their car. You know what I mean when I say that? So I'm like, this is not something I want to encourage. So, but that was a healthy disagreement. But this is the point that this is the reason why I brought this up, right? So, because I don't want to encourage women trying to go out and learning how to fight first before they get their guns license. This is something that I believe vehemently. I rather women learn, get a taser, get mace, right? Get a guns license, do that before you start going out trying to learn karate, boxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, whatever, right? This is not something I want to I don't want women to join fighting on the purposes of, oh, if I can learn fighting, I can beat up the average. No. That's the wrong reason to join, right? So I had put it out there. This is something I want to zoom in on this on our interaction here, right here, because I didn't finish this, because right here, because this I wanted to leave this part open ended. So I had asked my man Juiced Up Johnny. I asked him. I said, also, let me put this out there. I said, what race of women would you say have the best or the most powerful female fighters in the States? And Juiced Up Johnny gave me a political answer. He said hard to say based off real stats. I don't know, so I won't quote. But just from training, I'll say Brazilian women or Nordic, Eastern European women. And I would say my brother. That's not what I asked. that's not what I asked. I put that question out there on purpose. I said, what race of women would you say have the best or more powerful female fighters? So you should automatically know what race of women are perceived to be the most aggressive, or what race of women is the average man going to think, oh, this bitch know how to fight? Now, yes, he is right that the Nordic and Eastern European do have that tough reputation as well. But in the States, which races of women or what race of women would the average man here in the States be like, oh shit, this bitch know how to fight? Now, Truth Hunter said Latina, right? Which is true, but we already know Black women have that reputation on lock. They're the ones that always think most times more than not, they really think they can fight their man. He said the African wingback. Pyro said the African wingback. and Truth Hunter, we'll use the Latinas as an example as well in a little bit. But Black women already have that reputation of being the most aggressive. The ones that they're the ones known that, oh, they finna fight their ninja, no matter the size. And even like it's just automatic. Oh yeah, black women, they be aggressive. They be trying to fight. And I'll say the best, forget regular boxer or jujitsu. Everybody knows a Black woman that can mop the floor with most ninjas. I'm talking about in the streets they're not properly trained. Everybody knows a Black woman that can mop the floor with most ninjas. Everybody knows one, at least one. The average American knows at least one, a Bernice. Who's the girl on that they used to be towing people's trucks? What's her name again? I forgot what her name is. Black women are the ones with that reputation, and to a lesser extent Latinas. But in terms of Black women, will literally they don't even have to talk. They'll put hands to fists. So the point is, when I bring that up, this is why I say we shouldn't be encouraging that kind of mentality, because Black women are the ones that have the reputation for it. And look how badly that has messed up the perception of Black women. Look how badly it's messed up, because now automatically a dude will approach a Black woman, and what's the first thing he's gonna say? Oh, okay, hopefully they be like approaching Black women like they're like a wild animal and shit. It is because of that perception. It actually hurts women more than it helps them, because now what you be hearing women say, oh, why are these men intimidated? No, they're just, and most Black women will tell other dudes, oh yeah, every dude I meet, they're intimidated by me. They always think I'm finna beat them up. You only hear that from Black women, and probably some and to a lesser extent Latinas. So the Latina part, it's not necessarily them fighting, it's just Latinas, they be stabbing up people. Right? They'll use they'll shoot, like Latina women, they'll use knives, they'll use a firearm, they'll use a weapon, right? You know what I mean? So that's why I say let's not encourage that. And yes, we all know like female fighters, like, dude, I know plenty of female fighters that are athletes. They can do this, they can do that, but that's not something I encourage, where I'm putting it out there, where it seems like the only reason you fight is to brag about how much better you are than the average man. That's not you know what I mean? That's not something to brag on. You know? Shadow Dog Law says not gonna lie, Chris. I was in Popeyes on Saturday and these two sisters started fighting. This dude was all under the influence. Oh yeah, how late at night was it? Because when I was touring with the Canadian jazz band last year, they wanted to go to a Waffle House. Yeah, they wanted to go to a Waffle House at night, and I was like, "Nah, we got to go now." And they had asked at 10 o'clock. He said, "Can we go a little bit?" Because they wanted to go at like 12 a.m. or like 1 a.m. And I was like, "Nah, we got to go now," because I'm like, you don't want to be in a Waffle House. Like we were in either Mississippi or West Virginia. I think we were in West Virginia, and then we went to another Waffle House in like when we were down in Mississippi or Alabama. I forgot, but the first Waffle House we went to was in West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, "Nah, we got to go at 10 o'clock. We cannot go at no 12 a.m., 1 a.m." Or you gonna see some motherfuckers. You gonna see people fighting, unless you want to be part of that. I do not want to be part of that. But we had a good time at Waffle House. We had a good time. It was some good food. But yeah, if you was at Popeyes on a Saturday, just on a Saturday period, but especially if you went on a Saturday night, like around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., yeah, anything past 8 p.m. on a Saturday night, even though Popeyes closed at like what, probably 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. on a Saturday, that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to be on a regular Saturday night, because not like Popeyes obviously closes at like at 12 a.m. on a Saturday or something like that, or 11 p.m. But in terms of like a Waffle House where they're basically open all night, oh Lord, that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to be. Shadow Dog Law says one of those sisters was at least 7 months pregnant. I wasn't going to mess up my Jumpman sweatsuit I left. Yo, that's some funny shit. That's some funny stuff, Shadow Dog. He said, I just got my things cleaned. I ain't finna mess that up. Oh man. But yeah, please watch that video. I don't know if I covered this woman. I think I did cover this woman in a live. I might be wrong, but anyway. Oh, Shadow Dog Law with the $2.99 super sticker. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Why is my music all the way down? Holy shit.
We got money, nigga! We got money, nigga! We got money, nigga! We got money, nigga!
Yeah, thank you, Shadow Dog Law, for the $2.99 super sticker, man. Shout out to you, man. Thank you. Thorn Starter Fit said, I encourage everyone to keep their hands to themselves. Yo, Thorn Starter Fit, I don't know why people can't do this. It's so simple. It's so simple, but people cannot do this. For some reason, people cannot do this. Like, even when it comes to homie, even when it comes to women, people might disagree with me on this. Like, even when it comes to women, I keep my hands, like, I'll be talking to women and I'll keep my hands in my pocket. I'll keep my hands in my jacket. If a woman wants a hug, I'll give her that one hand hug. Do you know how many times I've gotten like, they'd be mad at me. Like, the woman will be mad at me. They'd be like, what's with you with these one hand and I'm like, no, I just whatever. And finally, I met a woman that actually gave me a compliment for doing that. She was like, "Oh man, all these, she was like, man, all these dudes, they always want hugs. You're the only person that finally considered." I'm like, well, okay. I didn't take it that like, because I wasn't I wasn't looking for a hug from her, right? She initiated the hug, and I just gave her the, the one, one hug thing, one arm with the one arm, the church hug. I love giving people the church hug. It's the most innocent thing. It's the most respectful, innocent thing you could do. Particularly women, I always give them the church hug. They be getting mad though when I do it, which is very interesting. But I like respecting people's, space when it comes to that. And there are people that just they cannot keep their hands to themselves, right? So it is what it is. And that sentiment that goes across all lines with just people. There's just certain people you gotta know how to approach people, right? You can't just be walking up to people crazy, right? So when Corey Holcomb would give people the advice to particularly to black people, right? He'll tell black people like, look, ninjas, man, do not approach white people in Florida unless if you have a gun too, right? Because ninjas will just talk crazy like they usually do, and then they'll approach a Caucasian man or a Caucasian woman or whatever, or a Caucasian person, and they think they're about to fight, and I'm like, bro, they got a gun on them. You know that, right? People are not out here. People out here not playing games. Keep your hands to yourselves and keep your voice at a level where things can stay respectful. Because things can escalate just like this. It takes nothing to escalate a nothing burger situation into a full blown shooting, and the difference could just be the decision just to keep your voice at a minimal level, like this right here. Just keep it right here, enough where they can hear you a little bit, but understand where you're coming from, right? Shadow Dog. Oh, they was fighting in the morning. Oh, hell no. That's crazy. They were fighting in the morning like this. I mean, I'll be goddamn. Dude, I remember I was at a McDonald's and they had a messed up my the guy in the back, he had messed up my coffee order. And usually, like, when stuff like that happens, I just take the L. But save if I'm off, if it's like during the afternoon and I'm trying to chill and my order gets messed up, I won't bother them, but I'll be like, damn, I'll be tight. You know what I mean? But I remember when the guy messed up my coffee, I didn't even care, bro. I was too it's too early in the morning for me to even fight or to even show. I was too tired to even be disappointed. And the lady had came up to me. She's like, "Where did you get the frappe from?" I was like, "Oh yeah," and it's like, "Oh, so she went in the back and she did the coffee order herself. She gave me, first of all, she gave me an extra sandwich and she gave me a extra coffee. Man, and she didn't tell the guy that he messed up her. She just did it. She just did it herself. I didn't even have to complain. She just saw my order. She was like, "Where do you get the frappe from?" I didn't order. I was like, I'm like, I don't know. But I was too tired to even be disappointed. So for them to be that early and they were ready to fight, that's wild. Oh yeah. Thorn started fifth, aka Trevor. He said, "Oh yeah, after the bars let out at OK Corral." Oh yeah, I've seen that. What's it? Cape Corral. I think that's what the buffet is called in Florida or down south. I try to stay away from those spots, man, because these people will fight over nothing. Truth Hunter said, "I seen a BW suing a chair at one lady at a KFC before." Oh Lord, ninjas in their chairs. Ever since that, remember that video came out when those black people at the water was beating up those white people at the boat. The guy sent up his hat like a Batman signal, and dude was using his chair to hit him. Now people been like, now Ninja's been using chairs to help them out, like it's WWE ever since that video came out. Truth Hunter said, I just sat there and watched the fight while I drank a float. Pyro said, I don't get it. I don't like handing out hugs. Even like, I'll say for me too, like, because I don't even like even earlier today, I was at a Rite Aid. I'm not gonna say what town, but I just don't like people bothering me when I'm shopping, right? I don't, especially if I'm at a, like, if I need help, I will ask you for help if it's that serious. But I rather be left alone, because I don't want to be thrown off. I don't want to forget nothing. I don't want to forget what I came for, right? So just ladies just keep bombarding me and shit today, and it just threw me off. It just got me so pissed off, because I don't want to be bothered while I'm shopping, while I'm just doing the essentials. I'm here looking for something simple. Please leave me alone. Like I remember even when I used to shop at Target, sometimes I would come in with my headphones so people don't bother me, right? But that's where I'll be shocked where certain dudes, like there's certain particularly old dudes, they like having like conversations with the female attendants or the male attendant. I don't got time for that shit. I don't even want to be. I don't even want to be here. But I'm here for something that I'm probably gonna regret. But I just need it right now. Let me just get my thing and be out. But do I need to help you with something? I'm like, didn't you just already hear this bitch ask me if I needed help, and I said no? Damn. Homie, I'll even see, like, I'll see somebody stocking stuff, and I won't even if I need help finding something. If I see you stocking, or if I see you doing something, or I'm not gonna bother you. I don't want to be. I won't bother you. You don't have to bother me. I'll be good. And if I need something in emergency, I know exactly who to go to. I know exactly who to go to. The person that looks like they know what they're doing. They got the earpiece on and they have supervisor on their chest or something, or somebody that's at the department that I need them for. And I just ask them for what I need. You can take all the time that you want. I know what I'm doing when I'm going in there, right? Especially if I'm going into a freaking Rite Aid or a Walmart or I'm not there for anything like complicated. I'll find what I'm looking for. But people be going in there to chat, to discuss politics. I'm like, oh my God. Can't make this stuff up. But anyways, but I don't know. And like I said, I've told people before, I am a bit grumpy in real life. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't like people bombarding me while I'm trying to shop for the simple things. You know what I mean? It's a small store. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Trust me. He said Thorne started fitting. Yeah, not to wonder. He said, you're a man. You got to, like, because most of these spots I'm in and out anyways. I can find what I'm looking for. Just please do not bother me. Right. Plus, it's not. Plus, I feel like with situations like that, I always feel like it's particularly with certain women, like it's with certain female attendants. In certain towns, they're just trying to monitor me because I'll be like the only black person in the store. So that's kind of how I felt that it was, because I'm like, what in here? What in here do I need help finding? I don't need help finding anything in a fucking Rite Aid. You know what I mean? You just like, just please. Please, I'm good. I'm good. Let me switch gears here. But yeah, shout out to Juiced Up Johnny on this, because we have, but because what we have to understand is this: that perception has hurt, like it's done more damage to black women than, because really, because obviously Juiced Up Johnny is right in terms of that the nationalities of where the best female fighters are. Yes, there are, in terms of trained fighters, they're obviously going to be Brazilian, or they're going to be from Russia, right? Or those countries from out in East Europe. Yes, but I'm talking about the race of women that are seen as the more aggressive or the more powerful fighters, or women that are seen like they finna fight you. It's always black women, and to a lesser extent Latinas. And you don't want that perception put on you or your people or your race of women. You don't want that reputation following you. You don't, particularly as a woman. Now, let's hit up something interesting. let me hit up something interesting real quick. Let me show y'all something, because I found this video. I like the man in this video. Pause. I like the man in this video. Here we go. Why did not show my? Oh, okay. Never mind. I got it. I was like, why did not show my damn video? But anyways, right. So we got this man right here. I forgot what show this is. But here you can see guys are finally sticking up for themselves. So a guy is in here with his alleged daughter, and he hasn't been in the life of his alleged daughter because he has always suspected that the daughter is not his, right? Wait, hold on. Let me take this off. Let me take this off real quick. Let me take this off. I messed up myself already. I messed myself up trying to be a smart ass. I messed myself up trying to be a smart ass. My bad. Let me reload this thing. Here we go. But anyways, this guy here, he's going to stick up for himself. So he's here to find out if the daughter that he's been in and out of his life, in and out of her life, or just not. He's just trying to see if that's his. And he's finally here. He's defending himself. And really all men that end up in situations like that, where they'll be like, oh, why is the man not in the daughter's life or in the son's life? And a lot of the times they don't have the balls to say it, but they'll be like, I don't think this kid is mine. You know? So shout out to this man for sticking up for himself, and really a lot of men really worldwide.
How do you feel you've been as a father? I've been great compared to her mother.
My mother was my mom and my dad for 18 years
Why are we here?
because you wanted to find out, and I wanted
Want
to find out as well.
what? If who's your father? So we're
Right.
here because your mom couldn't decide who she wanted to.
That is not true. We're not to talk
Okay,
to my mother.
no. Let's call it what it is. We 100% sure know that's your mother.
Uh-huh.
We 100% know that's your mom. There's no denying that.
Okay.
Tell me what your father's name is. Okay, then. So we're not here because of anything I may have did or not did 21 some odd years ago.
Now, I am so happy Ninjas is finally speaking like this in the public, in the mainstream, in a mainstream show like this. I'm finally Ninjas with balls out here. Instead of just saying this stuff in the private, instead of just saying this stuff in the barbershop, men standing on their nuts and be like, look, man, even if I'm wrong, your mom was in a your mom was on some foul stuff too. And what people don't even understand, and seeing how women run from paternity tests like it's a goddamn kryptonite to Superman, right? It makes me question all these stories in the past about, you know, how women would say, "Oh, I had a man in my life and he abandoned me," or you'll hear stories like this specifically. You'll hear stories like, "Yo, everything was all good until I got pregnant, and once the baby came out, he started having a drinking problem," right? And I started putting two and two together. I'm like, what if those guys back then, because they didn't have paternity tests like in the, you know, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, you know, the 20s, like back in the day and beyond. Because back in the day, they didn't have no paternity tests. So imagine you're a guy, you marry this woman, or you take this woman to be your own, and you marry her or whatever, and you suspect that she's cheating, but you don't really have the proof. And then she ends up saying she's pregnant with your kid, because they could only go by word of mouth back then. And the kid comes out and you can't really prove it, but you don't think the kid is yours, but you're stuck with the bitch. Of course, that guy's going to have a drinking problem. Of course, he's going to eventually just disappear. Just one day, because he can't prove it. But he suspects that something that child is not his. Now, in this show, apparently he ended up finding out that that was his daughter. But the problem is, a lot of women, they're always assessing their options. But the problem is, with women assessing their options, they're usually fucking multiple people at once. So they think they have that under control, but they're still not sure. They're never 100% positive who the father is, because they're always fucking multiple people. In a even if she thought, oh, I broke up with this dude and then I moved on with the next dude, she's still not positive on who's cream pieing her. You know what I mean? So this is the stuff that people don't want to talk about. And all these talks about, oh man, the guy just upped and left. We were married. I'll be like, why did he leave? Oh, he just left. No. Men are simps, bro. At the end of the day, men are the real romantics. So for a guy to up and leave, what happened? Because as everything is being revealed now, like human nature is really being revealed for everybody to see. And it's showing, like, now everybody knows who people are. You can't really hide who you are anymore. And seeing how men act, seeing how men are doing certain things, see how men are still trying to go out their way to make things work out with women, even though women just do not like men at all. In terms of the average man, they just have no use for the average man. And or when you're seeing certain women even going out their way to talk about murdering male fetuses and stuff, and men still want to work things out with women, still to this day they still want to. They think if they bring religion into it, it'll bring the hoes back in line. So seeing the average man still doing what they can to try to gain access to women, right? I'm starting to see, oh, I know what happened. When you start hearing about women talking about, oh, he abandoned me and all this stuff. No, it's like I said, it's either A, you ran away a decent dude, or number two, you mess with a dude that you knew you had no business with. It's either one or the other, because there were dudes that still stayed with their women even when they had a feeling that the kid wasn't theirs. Trust me, ask people in the black community when I'm talking about, like, they became adults, where the kids became adults, and then like a woman will find out at the age of 36 that her father wasn't her biological father, and they kept it from her for 36 years, and the guy and the father knew, and he still stayed. Like, so as you start putting two and two together, you're starting to realize I understand what happened in the past where guys were so-called abandoning their families. I know, or they ended up with a drinking problem after after their kid was allegedly conceived. They just thought they just had a suspicion that the kid wasn't theirs, but they just couldn't prove it. Let me drink this thing. And I don't even think that's a theory. I think that's a fact. I don't even consider that a theory. Because it's pretty clear what's to me what happened in the past. But I was like, yep, finally. And Truth Hunter, great point right here. I sped read your comment, but I want people to see this right here. Truth Hunter says, not even a chastity belt would stop ladies. Their raptor claws would tear through it. But even I know you're joking here about the raptor claws, but let's focus on the chastity belt thing. For a chastity belt, for them to even have a thing called a chastity belt, what does that show you? That shows you women be fucking around. For them to even have to make a something like this shows you the nature of women, or particularly younger women. For them to even have to make something like that, right? Or when people even ask, man, why did men are so obsessed with virginity and all this stuff? Well, it's just biologically hardwired. Because back then, the only way you could 100% prove, okay, this is gonna be my kid, is if the woman was a virgin. So it's just hardwired in us to look for that, because that was like the only way you could be like, okay, if I impregnate this woman right here and right now, I know this kid's gonna be mine. It's just biological programming, but boomer feminists, I know Cappy talks about this when we talk about boomer feminists, millennial feminists, and Gen Z feminists, but particularly boomer feminists, all they've been trying to do is trying to outsmart nature, or trying to outsmart just simple biology. And they wonder why they're getting the results that they're getting. He said, I see that device. Yeah, like I'm finally happy. It's finally, men are finally just accepting, look, if I'm gonna be the villain, I might as well just say what's really going on. Because the mom always gets to hide under the radar. They get to hide behind their children. They get to hide behind man bad, women good. Meanwhile, the child suffers the most, and the father. So now people are going to look at it like, oh, who's the villain here? Who's the villain here is the mother. But you see how the mother's nowhere in sight. Mother's nowhere in sight. And she's the one that's caused this whole mess between the daughter and the father. She's the reason behind this rift, because she was a hoe and she just couldn't pick. And then when she got pregnant, she tried to pin it on the man that she thought was gonna fall for it. And when dudes don't fall for it, they play victim. I'm pregnant. Why are you telling me about it? The reason why he's asking, and bitches will be shocked too, when the bitch will be like, I'm pregnant, and then she'll go to the dude. What do you mean? What do you mean you won't stay? What do you mean whose kid is it? Because he knows who you are. He knows you're a hoe. He knows you be fucking around. He knows he's not the only one fucking you. He knows that. That's why he's like, why are you telling me about this? He's not an asshole for asking that. especially like if the average woman came up to me today that I was fucking with and said, I'm pregnant with your kid, I'd be like, how the hell do you know that? That would be the first thing I would say. Because I know I'm not the only one you're fucking. I please. But apparently you're a villain as a man for saying that. Apparently you're a villain. Apparently that makes you a deadbeat. Apparently that makes you the worst person on earth for saying, whose father is this? Why are you coming up to me about this? And women be bragging about date multiple. They'll tell each other, date multiple men. Don't, if he don't give you a ring, sis, don't do this and blah blah blah. Dating multiple people, fucking multiple people, then they get pregnant, and they get mad at you for saying, what does that have to do with me? It's especially if you moving like that. If you moving mad like that, and you fucking with multiple men, and you get pregnant, and you get mad at the dude that you like the most, or the dude that you thought was going to give you the most money or give you the most resources, and you get mad at that dude for saying, what does that have to do with me? Because he knows you fuck with multiple dudes. He knows. And you mad at him for being skeptical. But anyways. Yep. Yeah, but even if you mention DNA test, they look at you like you're the worst person on earth. You're just like, especially if you're like the average woman, they brag about messing with multiple men. I'm like, well, okay, if you want to do that, even though they used to do that in the past, they just kept it quiet in the past. But if you want to move like that, fine. But don't come up to me when you're pregnant. What you need to do is be like, look, I'm pregnant. I think it's either you or somebody else is the father. I'm not going to put you, can we do a paternity test? Now, them asking, yeah, it's a good start, but you can't even if the man refuses, you can't even be mad at that man for refusing, because if you're a woman that's messing with multiple men, you're moving foul already. And then especially in this day and age, like there's no such thing as a oopsie daisy baby. Not in 2025. There's all types of birth control. They have all these apps where you can track your cycle. It's only a 3 to 5 day period where a woman can like possibly get pregnant. It's a very small window where women can get pregnant. So it's no. If you got pregnant for emotional reasons, but then once you realize that then you realize, oh shit, I didn't really think things through. Truth Hunter said, I would be like, let's go take some tests. Her, how dare you? He said, me, don't you want to see if the kid has any of my family problems? No, they don't care about that. They just care about who's going to give me these resources. Who's going to help? Who's going to help me? Not even help the baby. Who's going to help me? That's that's her mindset. Hence why when they start talking about child support, they start talking about, give me the money. How much are you giving me? While simultaneously talking about, child support. He's not giving me any money. I thought it's called child support. Don't you have a job? No. But when it comes to situations like that, that's when you start realizing women are very selfish during that period. Very selfish. I think people give women a pass only because of, them incubating the baby. It is a delicate time, them being pregnant, and also it is a delicate time for them, but I think women, for some reason, they take it as a license to just act out, do whatever they want, say whatever they want, flip out on their man on a whim. I think they just take that as a license to just to do that. But I don't think people should let them get away with doing stuff like that. Also, as I've said before, postpartum depression to me, I think it's largely a myth. I think this is just something that we've used as a crutch for, like, it's something because the stuff that women describe is postpartum psychosis, which is actually rare. But then they're trying to normalize it. I'm like, that's not postpartum depression. What you're describing is postpartum psychosis, which is actually rare. I don't know what man could talk about, damn, I think about killing my kids and all this stuff, and deleting myself in the family just because a baby's on the way. I don't know what man can get away with saying that without going to jail. But we just say, oh, that's just postpartum depression. You're like, what? No. We can't do that. So Pyro said Chris is going to reach a point when men are not marrying women or have kids with them. They're going to sue the man to get money out of them. Well, yeah, that's what's happening right now. So because men are not marrying, and because we're in that period right now, men are just not marrying women anymore. So you'll even see, like, I remember I saw an article where they're saying that women, they put it in big letters like this, like, women are giving up on marriage, and you're just like, that's not how it works. That's literally like saying, that's like imagine if, like, employees of Target got all replaced with AI, right? And that would be like the former employees looking for that same job at Target, at other places, but they all replace them with AI. And then the employees finally say, oh, I quit. I didn't get replaced. I quit. Men have been given up. Like, men have already walked away. Now they're trying to say, oh, women are giving up on marriage. It's bruh. Men's complaints, concerns have been ignored for way too long. So men have stopped marrying, and women are like, damn, why are these guys not marrying? And instead of just taking that L and being like, damn, we got to change, they're just like, oh, well, we gave up on marriage too. You're just like, okay, whatever. First, and not only that, they're getting replaced by women overseas, American women specifically, or Western women in general, being replaced right in front of their eyes, and they still won't take that L. Truth Hunter said, I can see it, Pyro. They're suing us because we looked around the room because they feel we raped them mentally. Yeah, this is already happening. It's already happened. That's their last ditch effort. So I've already said by the year 2026, it's going to be a bunch of Gen Z women, because they're already burnt out from the workspace. They're already burnt out. They're not trying to work. Gen Z women are not trying to work, even though they're one of the biggest feminists. They're the most left-leaning thinking people. They're not trying to work. So they're going to be looking at the past of all of the men that they slept with, particularly these sugar babies that think they're finessing dudes out here. They're going to be looking at all the past men that they slept with, and they're going to try to sue them. Oh yeah, long live the king said, "Don't fall for the I lose respect for a guy that had me do a DNA test either." Or you'll see. I'll take it a step further. You'll see it in the comment section where women now say, "If my husband ever asks for a DNA test, I'll give it to him, and then I'll give him the divorce papers right after." You're just like, bitch, take the test. These be the same bitches. How, and I'm like, why? And I always ask him, why is he not allowed to have a DNA test? Well, if he thinks I'm that type of woman, I'm like, miss, do you be checking your man's phone? You don't be checking his finances. You don't check. You don't be checking. You like when it'll be a man talking to a woman at a grocery store, and they'll find out their husband is talking to some women at a grocery store. They go right up to the husband. What are you doing? Talking to the young, cute cart lady. Whatever. They'd be so insecure talking about their man can't have an Instagram and all this stuff, but he can't ask for a paternity test. Come on now. Besides, there have been way too many women that have said, I'm talking about women that have said if a woman is denying a man a paternity test, she's hiding something. There have been women that have come out and say, ladies, stop with the BS. Give your man a paternity test. Like, stop. You know what I mean? Because all you got to do to debunk that whole paternity test stuff, all you got to do is be like, so why is he not allowed to ask you that? And it just and the first thing they're gonna say is trust. I'm like, miss, if you ever checked your husband's phone at any time, checked on his finances to see if he was cheating, I'm like, so you never thought your husband was cheating? You never thought to? So you be leaving him alone? Like, stop. And we all know women are doing the complete opposite. We already know women are checking up. Like, I've seen videos of women checking their man's Instagram following. Oh, if he's following an IG model, it's a red flag. They be saying all this stuff, but you won't give your husband a paternity test. Come on, stop. It's the easiest thing to debunk. But that's the play now, where basically, if you give me a paternity test, I'm giving you a divorce right after. It's just like, really, come on, stop. Give the man the paternity test. They're like, particularly women, they're always trying to go out their way to prove, like, out of all the times women want to prove themselves right, it all stops at a paternity test. Now they don't want to prove you right no more. They don't want to prove themselves right. Once you put that paternity test in their face, man. Yo, man, that's crazy work. Yeah, Truth Hunter said, saying a woman giving up on marriage is like saying a fish is giving up on water. Oh, man. Long Live the King with the $5 super chat. Shout out to Long Live the King.
We got money, niggas! We got money, niggas! We got money, niggas!
I'm gonna download another DJ Khaled soundbite. I remember when DJ Khaled was, initiated with Cash Money. Anyways, those are different times. Anyways, Long Live the King with the $5 super chat. He said, I have an older friend that's 52 talking about she's manifesting getting married. Oh yeah, I seen crazy stuff like that. I've been like, I saw, mind you, Long Live the King, he's not lying. Remember, I showed you the video where I talked about the video where Claudia Jordan, she's 48 years old and she's with her younger boyfriend and she's talking about, I want to get pregnant. And Michael Blackson's like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? He's like, isn't this bitch 48? But I remember on Cappy's channel, on Aaron Clary's channel, where somebody was talking about the women that they work with. One of the women that the supporters work with, she was 47 and she's talking about, I'm thinking about freezing my eggs at 47. At 47, she's saying, I'm thinking about freezing my eggs. They in terms of reality, is like you have women and then you have reality. It's like two separate things. Reality and women just do not coincide, especially in today's age. Let me see if I can find that clip, though. Let me see if I can find that Claudia Jordan clip. Let me see if I can find that clip. Claudia Jordan, Michael Blackson. I thought that clip was hilarious. What in the hell? Claudia Jordan, Michael Blackson. Let me see if I can find. Can I find that shit? Yeah, it was like a couples retreat, whatever. I don't know. I probably won't be able to find that clip with Claudia Jordan just trying to. What she said she wanted to get pregnant. I'm gonna do one more search. I'm gonna do one more search. Nah, never mind. But nah, I'm not I ain't even gonna look for it. But that was one of the funniest things I ever seen. She's like talking. I'm like, she's 48. What are you talking about? But they don't even understand like the reality. Like, remember when we were talking? I don't have you. Please press a one in the chat if you saw that live stream I did with Undead Chronic when I came on, and when I came on specifically, I was talking about we covered Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and they were just trying to ask me where does she come from, who is she, if I had any information about her or whatever, and then her age came up and pregnancy came up, and I think Chronic had wait how old is she again? I'm like, oh, she's 43. They're like, wait, she's 40, and they just started laughing. And it basically ended the conversation right then and there. And like these bitches, they cuckoo, bro. They cuckoo. So this is why I kind of, you know, if I detect cuckoo-ness from certain women, I just kind of feed them with like a very long stick. I approach them with a long stick. I try to like poke. I'm like, hopefully this one's not cuckoo. But they will, like, women will talk like this. They'll be in their late 40s talking about, I'm thinking about freezing my eggs, or they're like, why? They'll be 53, 55 talking about they'll be like, where's my soulmate? They'll be like 55, 56. Where's my soulmate? Like, the delusion doesn't stop with age, because people just think, okay, women get a certain age and then they'll stop being delusional. No, they will never stop being delusional. Especially if there's black men around giving these old hags attention, they're never gonna stop being delusional. Oh man. Oh, that one. Yeah. When I did that stream, it was just interesting how as soon as I mentioned Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's age, the conversation stopped and we moved on to a different topic. That was probably the funniest part of the conversation, because we were just like, what the fuck is she talking about? We were talking about her, talking to Cam Newton. Oh yeah, Chronic was roasting Cam Newton's outfit. I was laughing. Motherfucker. Yo. And we were about to do a whole deep dive, but as soon as I mentioned, I'm like, nah, she's 43 years old. On paper, she's 43. That means she's probably older than that, right? And I'll say this, shout out to Corey Holcomb for being the only man with balls to question Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's credentials. Because if it wasn't for Corey Holcomb, nobody would have looked up her records. Nobody would have been able to find out that she obtained a so-called a master's or doctorate from a school that has been discontinued. So the school that she allegedly got it from, you can't even search up the records. I'm like, oh, she's a scam artist. So nobody even questioned until a comedian came along, was like, where does bitch come from? But you know, yeah, discontinued for a scam. Exactly, like the actual spot or the school, like it got shut down because people were using it actually. Like it wasn't an accredited like institution, and that's why the place got shut down. And then now on top of that, anybody that got their whatever from their doctorates or whatever, their credits, their certification, you can't even look up their records because it's been discontinued. So that's obviously going to be a haven for scam artists to use that school so they could just claim, oh, I got it from this, but you can't even look up their records to see if they actually gained their doctorates. And not only that, she didn't even put in the hours to get her license to actually coach people. So she's not even an accredited coach, really. You're just like, what? Nobody had questions for this bitch. Nobody, I'm talking about in the public, was like, yo, who is this so-called doctor? Where are her colleagues? Where are her people that can vouch for her? But the thing is, because with women like her, black guys like having sex with women that look like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, so they will just give her a pass. And because she can put certain words together, she's good at speaking in public. She's a fearless type of, speaking woman. So she can get away with a lot without her credentials, without people having to even question her credentials. So she's just gonna get away with a lot because dudes, particularly black men, want to fuck her. So it is what it is. Shout out to Corey Holcomb again, because most people, they're just not, particularly men, they're not gonna they're not gonna risk it. They're not going to risk it. Sorry, that thing that you hear in the background, I got my bass guitar is literally right on my bed. Pause. So, right here. This actually fits right in to what I wanted to talk about as well. Let me bring this video up. Because not only am I going to talk about, I'm going to dive deep into, not only am I going to bring up the child support bill in Texas again, but the second half of my title, when I talk about the gender war myth, right? This definitely fits in what I want to talk about right here. So let me load this video up. So when people talk about this so-called, oh, we have a gender war, and I always laugh when I hear gender war, because there is no gender war. That's just my opinion. There is no gender war, because at the end of the day, say if a man comes out and says, look, I'm done with all these women. We're declaring war on women, and he's gonna threaten physical violence on that woman. Who are the women going to call to defend him from that man? She's going to call another man. So there is no gender war. It's just bitches talking, and men are just finally saying, look, just what you're saying is not making sense, right? So what they'll do to kind of shut you down is they'll be like, oh man, you're just feeding into the gender war. No, there is no gender war. there is no gender war. there is none. So by the way, let me just play this video. I found this very interesting, this particular video. Here you're going to have a woman talk about how she's so-called masculine. You'll hear a lot of women say this, like, I can't find anybody, and these men are not masculine enough because I'm masculine. I'm like, duh, you're the problem. And women saying that they're masculine, it really doesn't mean anything. You're just a woman claiming she's masculine is just is like you're because in a woman trying to act like a man, you're basically a defective man. But they just give you a pass for it for so long because dudes just want to fuck you. But let's play this video real quick. Let's listen to this lady describe how she's actually the problem, really.
Really?
If I was with a guy, I couldn't be with a masculine man because I'm masculine. So if I was to find the guy that just so happened, you know what I'm saying, it just connects and that's just what's meant for me. I would really want him to be feminine. I would want him to shut the fuck up and cook and clean and do all that type of shit.
Nah.
And I feel like that's cool. Like, okay, it works. We balanced. Is he gay though? If he likes that, maybe he is. She.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe he is. She. I
That's
wouldn't mind
a whole
that
lot of
either.
twists and
I don't know.
turns.
First of all, I don't want people to get triggered when she says this. Just understand she's full of caca. Homie, that's like I done been around plenty of fuck it. I fucked a lot of hoes like this. I ain't even gonna hold you. I fucked a lot of hoes like this. Don't listen to what she's saying. So she's saying that because she's masculine, right? She can only be around a feminine man. She said that's the only way it'll work. She's capping. How much money you want to bet? She's got certain ninjas in her phone right now. Criminal, drug dealer, tattoo artist. She says that, but the actuality is right now she's fucking with a dude right now that will literally like she says that, but I'm pretty sure she's got dudes in her phone as we speak. I'm talking about as we speak that could literally kill her, that could literally delete her. Like this is the type of woman that actually she likes dangerous men. But she's only saying this now because she's realizing she's fucked up being a so-called masculine woman. So she's just saying, oh, I can only be around. It's only going to work if I'm with a feminine man. And you're just like, okay. Like I said, these are the, what we call it, the Hannah Baker types, right? It's Chad, Tyrone, or bust for her. Right? For her it's drug because this is a black woman, so it's scammer, drug dealer first, then Tyrone, then Chad. It's either that character or bust for her. That's really what she's trying to say, but her going into the details of it is just like it just makes her look just makes her look stupid because you see how even the other brain dead girls are like, what? That makes no sense. You know what I mean? So when women say stuff like that, you're not really supposed to pay attention to it, but I wanted to show that. You know what I mean? Truth Hunter said gender war is like gender pay gap. It's just you even if you try to explain that, when you even tell women like you do know that gender pay gap, that's not even a thing. Like they're just looking at the raw numbers of who's getting paid more in total. I'm like, they're not even taking into account the hours worked. You know what I mean? Overtime. You know what I mean? Like there's so many variables that they miss, but they just put that stat out there just to say that there's a gender wage gap. And these bitches be talking about I don't work with bitches. Do you know even I remember working with younger women, or when I was 19 and I was working with certain women. These women, I remember working with one woman. She worked a 3-hour shift. Like I'm talking about on the schedule. It said 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on her schedule. I'm like, she's working 3 hours? The fuck? I'm like, how she I know she was already in school during that time, but I'm like, what? 3-hour shifts? And if Ainsley's here, he knows exactly who I'm talking about. I just don't want to say her name. She was working 3-hour shifts. I was like, I know all of us are here part-time, but I'm like, 3 hours? The fuck? What? You might as well just stay home. And anyway, and at that time we were making like minimum wage. So women for in terms of hours, particularly younger women, they're not trying to work all those hours. They're just not. It's only a few women that will that'll do it. Anyways, let me see how much you bet she cooks for those guys. Look, yo, that's all I'm about to. Okay, let me highlight that comment. This is why I say do not listen to women like this that be talking, because she'll say all this stuff on the podcast. Then you follow her home and she's cooking, she's cleaning for an for her unemployed Chad boyfriend that she's hiding from the world. Yo, facts. Or her drug dealer boyfriend. And I'm talking about cooking, cleaning for him. I noticed this in high school. I remember this one girl who used to be like not necessarily a feminist, but she was a pretty girl. Like she had like really beautiful eyes. That's how she used to get ninjas in high school. She had like really like deep piercing eyes, so she could get most dudes to do whatever she wants for him. So that's why she used to be so confident and very cocky. And how she's like, I remember talking to her, and I would always like look away, just because I knew how she was getting people. So she was the type, she'd be like, oh man, I don't have to do stuff. I can just look at motherfuckers and they just do whatever I want and blah, blah, blah. Then she ended up going out with a Chad, like temporarily. I'm not going to say his name, but she was basically crying about how he didn't take her seriously. And she was like, I cooked for him, I cleaned for him. I was like, this bitch. And I was like, I was listening to this bitch in a corner, like just because obviously she wasn't talking to me, she was talking to her friend, whatever, in the library. And I was like, what? I'm like, this bitch know how to. I'm like, she's cooking and cleaning. I thought she said she didn't do none of this stuff for dudes. And she talking about all this stuff. She said she was massaging him after his basketball games. She was rubbing his feet. All this stuff. I'm like, she do all that? I had because the way she talked and her swagger and all that, I was, and the way she would make dudes do stuff for her. But the thing is, when women like that be talking a good game, or they think they're above it all, once they finally get with a dude that's above their pay grade, so to speak, they start doing stuff that I'm like, what? So I'm like, this bitch was cooking for him, cleaning for him. She said she was washing his uniforms, bruh. I was like, oh. I was on, dude, I almost passed out when I heard that from her. I was like, I thought she didn't do none of that stuff. But for Chad Tyrone, for them drug dealer ninjas, yeah, she'll do it. Or try to attempt to do it, and she'll realize she's out of their depth. And what happens is women think that doing all this stuff is gonna keep a Chad. And what they don't understand is Chad, I'm not even gonna go drug dealer, but Chad already has, or Tyrone, but specifically Chad, because I'm talking about a Chad here. Chad already has a line of women that are willing to do all of that for him, and and they don't mind being the side piece. So doing all that stuff for Chad, you're gonna have to put in way more skin in the game to get a guy like that. Like that's a prerequisite. All that stuff you're doing to him, that's a prerequisite. He already expects that, because he already has a line of women willing to do that for him for free. Meaning they don't even want the girlfriend title. They just want to be around Chad. And they'll just do that for him. He already has side chicks doing that shit for him. Believe it or not. Oh man. Yeah, Siren Eyes. Yeah, she had like them eyes. And because I saw it firsthand, she would just be looking at motherfuckers and they would just be entranced. And I noticed that. So as soon as she started talking to me, I'll just be like looking away. I'll just be hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah. Hey, I know. Hey, it was an interesting, like she's kind of stopped talking to me after she realized I couldn't. Hey yo, man. Fuck all that. Because I didn't even want to. I didn't want to even prove myself. Oh, I'm above it, man. I can get past her. Nope. I took her eyes. I took her at her word. I was like, oh, she can get ninjas to do whatever she. All right, I'll take you at her word. I won't. Hey, enough said. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to prove myself. I made sure anytime she talked to me, I never looked her in the eye. I was like, nope. I don't need to prove myself here. By the way, if there's any women, if there's any ladies listening to this, the women that are, you ladies out here that are like refusing to cook and clean and do all this stuff for your man, and you're taking advice from fat women, you gotta be the dumbest motherfuckers on earth. How do you think that bitch got fat? Because that bitch know how to cook for herself a lot of the times. Probably not nowadays, but particularly when it comes to fat women, they will tell their skinny friends, oh, don't do this for your man. You know them tortas, right? Talking crazy about their girlfriend's man. Meanwhile, that same torta, if she gets her hand on a Chad or one of them bodybuilder type ninjas, right? They're those gym trainers, because you already know gym trainers like themselves some fat women sometimes, right? Not only will they cook and clean, not only will that torta cook and clean for their gym trainer boyfriend, right? They will let him cheat. They won't even. I swear, they won't even care that he cheats. They won't. She won't even check him for cheating. Yeah, she didn't get what she wanted. Yeah, that girl in high school, she was going. She was like, I did all this stuff for him, and she still did it. He still was cheating, and all this. I'm like, well, but I used to be like me. I used to be astonished by that one particular guy that she's talking, because I knew that guy. I knew that guy a little bit. He was always respectful to me, whatever. He always saw me, whatever. He said, what's up? We would talk. I put him like he was one. I put him onto the Boondocks. And I remember in high school when I showed him the video, I was like, here's the Uncle Ruckus compilation. And he was about to watch the video without his headphones, and me and this other dude like, nah, you got to put your headphones on. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, I'm like, no, we don't. He started listening to the Uncle Ruckus stuff. He was crying, laughing. He's like, yeah. He's like, who is this guy? This is the funniest guy I ever heard in my life. It was funny because a lot of white people, they'd be afraid to say that Uncle Ruckus is the funniest character on the Boondocks, but he was like, he was having a ball. He was having a ball listening to Uncle Ruckus. He never heard nothing like that in his life. So those are the positive memories I'll guess I'll say I have of the guy. But I used to be astonished of the hoes that he was fucking with, or the girlfriends he had, right? And the stuff that he was basically able to get away with because of his status, right? So all that stuff when bitches talking about, oh, I'm not cooking or cleaning, or I'm a masculine, fuck all that. Because for the right guy, she will throw all of that to the side. Hell, like remember, Floyd Mayweather, he's upfront and personal when he says, like, look, one girl is too close to none. That's what Floyd Mayweather said, right? He said that's why I always have multiple bitches, right? But if you that guy, if you got that status, if you got that money, or if you're Chad or you're Tyrone, you can call the shots. Simple as, and women will just fall in line. All that stuff they be talking on their podcast or in life with their girlfriends, with their homegirls, or with their gay, their fruity tooty boy pal, all that stuff goes out the window when it's with a guy with status, sometimes with a guy with money, or their Chad boyfriend, or their criminal or their criminal affiliated boyfriend, whatever. All of that goes out the window. But let me replay the video one more time, though. Let me replay it because I wanted to pick some points out real quick.
Really?
If I was with a guy, I couldn't be with a masculine man because I'm masculine. So if I was to find,
But that's just her basically indirectly saying that I can't get masculine, like she can't get masculine man to get on her program. So any man with nuts that says, I don't want you out late at night. You know what I mean? So any man that has said, like, hey, you're my girl, I don't want you out here, I don't want you doing this, I don't want you doing that. She just has a problem obeying those guys, right? She just doesn't want to obey. She doesn't want to play her position. That's indirectly, that's what she's saying.
find the guy that just so happened, you know what I'm saying? It just connects, and that's just what's meant for me. I would really want him to be feminine. I want him to shut the fuck up and cook and clean and do all that type of shit.
And just look at the girl's face. Both of the girls on the couch face. Look at them.
I feel like that's cool. Like
she's that's like a nervous laughter, but she knows she's full of ish, right?
okay, it works. We balanced.
Just her face says it all. First of all, she probably knows her in real life, so she knows she's capping. She knows she capping, right? And let me see the Hispanic girl. Let's see the other one.
Is he gay though?
He's like, this bitch is full of caca. But this is the stuff, like, when girls get together and they start talking, you're gonna hear the most nonsensical things. You know what I mean?
Oh, if he likes that, maybe he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe he.
But yeah, this is one of those girls. She's gonna try, like, this is gonna be the same girl. She's gonna try being a lesbian for like a month, and then she's gonna be like, I apologize to all the guys that I disrespected. I didn't know women could be this hard. You think? Like this, she's gonna make a video like a year later talking about, wow, I didn't know men were going through all this stuff with women. Trust me. Oh man. Power says, Chris, I don't know. I feel a way when people look me in the eye. I'm gonna feel uncomfortable. Oh, we still on that. We still on that girl. Yeah, no, there's certain girls that can just that have those piercing eyes, and men just fall in line. You know? Yeah, some girls, they just have those kind of eyes, you know. Got to be careful with that. But anyways, let's look at the oh, bruh. Look at this, guys. Hold on for a sec. Look at this, guys. You're not going to believe this. So for the official, this is for the official video, right? Look, the comment section got turned off. They turned off the comment section for this. They were probably lighting her ass up in the comment section. This podcast is called Spilling Wine Podcast. Oh Lord, have mercy. Yo, don't tell me. Do they have her Instagram on here? Oh Lord. I didn't even know. Yo, this is a wannabe stud. Yeah. Yo, you can't make. I didn't know they had linked her Instagram on here. I didn't know. Yo, I guys, I swear on my life, I didn't know they had tagged her Instagram on here. I had no idea, guys. This is a wannabe stud, bro. I just see rainbow flag all across. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew I knew it. I was like, I knew. I'm like, watch, you don't try to like be a lesbian for like a year or a month or something, and then she's gonna come back when shit don't work out for her. Truth Hunter said, can see her getting knocked out by a lesbian when she tries to change teams. Facts. But let's look at her page real quick. This is a wannabe stud. Look at her. Look at her page. Hold on. Let me take my bad. Let me take the comment off. Let me take the comment off. Let's look at her page. This is hilarious, bro. Look at her page, man. This is a wannabe stud. She a wannabe stud, bro. Look at this. She got her hair braided. She wearing Nike Air Forces, whatever. This is a wannabe stud, bro. And she better not be no OnlyFans content creator. She, oh yo, yeah. This is like this let's be honest stuff is just new to her. This is a wannabe. She not even a real stud, bro. She not even a real stud. This bitch, there's no like. I know niggas see her and they be trying to smash all the time. Okay, so let's look at her link. It says book up and fuck. Oh hell, she better not. This better not be no OnlyFans bitch. Yo. What she talk? What? What kind of hoe is this? What? Hey yo, hey, young lady, don't take this as disrespect, but I'm sorry, you ain't no stud, bitch. This bitch. I'm sorry. Let's move on, man. Let's move on. Let's move on. She's so Truth Hunter says he can see her getting knocked out. I can see her getting knocked up. I feel like she'd been knocked up a couple of times. Yeah, so let's move on. I don't want to I don't want to harper on her too much longer, man. Hey, man. Oh man. Come on, lady. You ain't no lesbian, dog. Stop it. This bitch a part-time. This bitch a part-time lesbian, like a motherfucker, part-time McDonald's worker or some shit. Stop it. That ain't your real job. You know what I mean? Yo, come on, man. Come on, man. Let's see something real quick. What's another video I can show y'all? Yo. Let me see. Nah, we're gonna save that video. I want to save that video for actual content. Um, let me save that video. Let me pull up this one video and then I'll pull up my main videos. Let me just pull up this one. This one is funny though. This one is funny. Oh man. So this woman here is going to say, my unpopular opinion, pornography is creating PDF files, right? So let's hear her let's hear her reasoning behind this.
My unpopular opinion is that I think porn is creating pedophiles. Let's discuss this. There are 3 types of child sex offenders. Pedophilic or predatory, they're born attracted to children. Opportunistic, they can be attracted to both adults and children. And situational, they don't have an attraction to children, but if the situation happens that they can abuse them, they do. We are seeing much more higher rates of peer-based abuse, children harming other children due to their exposure to porn. And not only that, we're seeing a higher rates of porn addiction. And what happens in that addiction is that you need more extreme pornography to maintain arousal, mental, not physical. And if they don't receive it, they have to seek out more extreme pornography, bestiality, and then they end up on child sexual abuse materials. When I was investigating child sex offenders, they used pornography as a fill-in when they couldn't reach a child. And this is why I think that we are now creating pedophiles through the porn that they're watching. My unpopular opinion is that I think porn is creating.
Now, the irony behind what she's saying is she's low-key describing why there's a rise of female predators. She doesn't realize this, but she low-key, she described women and why you're seeing all these female teachers getting caught. You're seeing a lot of older women getting caught with boys. You're seeing pretty women. I'm talking about women that are pretty, like attractive. Like a lot of the times they be catching these guys and they put their mugshot on the on the screen. They do that on purpose to show, oh, look at this ugly dude. Look at this dude with no options, going after a kid. And you're seeing pretty women getting caught with middle schoolers, so-called attractive women getting caught with kids. And low-key, she's saying pornography is creating these people, but yet the people that are really the most porn addicted, in my opinion, are young Gen Z and millennial women. They're the ones that are into the bestiality. They're the ones that are into smut, book porn, right? The porn in the books, basically. But they say they like reading. They're the ones consuming the grape fantasy pornography online and through the books. They're the ones that are consuming the abuse content. They're the ones that are more into the BDSM than the men. She's describing really the women, not really the men, because like I said, men haven't changed. Men have not changed, really. They haven't. Porn is actually, what she's describing is actually the rise of female predators. But I'm pretty sure once if somebody actually, because usually when people start talking about pornography and the effects that it has on society, they're just really trying to put that on men. They're not really trying to put that on women. They're just only putting that on men. But what she's describing is actually the rise of women being a major factor now in terms of why we're seeing all these. I'm talking about you're seeing like women with options, right? You're seeing like young women that are married getting caught with kids, women that a lot of women teachers being caught with kids, right? Or just people just reporting these people more now and more often, and how bold the teachers are with the kids, right?
And pedophiles. Let's discuss this. There are three types of child sex offenders: pedophilic or predatory. They're born attracted to children.
Now, I don't know about the other stuff, but yes, that is but people don't understand it's not necessarily attracted to, it's just it's a sickness, right? And most of the time when you're dealing with a pedophile, most of the times, or 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10, they were put in a situation they didn't have no supervision, and they were put in a situation where they were molested themselves, and they end up doing the same thing to other kids.
Opportunistic. They can be attracted to both adults and children. And situational. They don't have an attraction to children, but if the situation happens that they can abuse them, they do.
So low-key, she's describing a lot of these female teachers that we've been reporting on.
Seeing much more higher rates of peer-based abuse, children harming other children due to their exposure to porn.
And the reason why you're seeing now kids more exposed to this stuff, the lack of parental supervision, right? Even if you are in a 2-parent household, both parents are now working. You know what I mean? And then now let's take it to another extreme level. If you were raised in a single parent household, or you were raised in a situation where you did have 2 parents at first, but then they divorced, and then you ended up staying with the mom via custody, or you had shared custody with the mom or the dad. That's a lack of parental supervision, which ends up with the kid being raised by the internet, the kid being raised by the TV. And you have a lot of Gen Z women and men, but also a lot of Gen Z women, since they like to leave them out, that ends up consuming a lot of pornography, a lot of this stuff, and they're able to hide it because they don't have a whole lot of, parental supervision.
And not only that, we're seeing a higher rates of porn addiction. And what happens in that addiction is that you need more extreme pornography to maintain arousal, mental, not physical.
And who are the people that usually complain about them not being aroused, them not, oh man, I can't get off? It's usually women. They're always asking to be choked. They want to be tied up. They can't get off unless they're being tied up, choked, spanked. If you don't have a certain amount of inches, they can't get off. Men can't do it right. Their punani is damn near desensitized because of all the toys they have, all the vibrators. Like, women can literally walk around with a bag of toys. But if a man has even one, like, fleshlight or something like that, one of those things, then if he has a sex doll, then he's a weirdo, he's a predator, he's this and that. But women will have all these toys, and we just been letting women get away with that for so long. So everything that she's describing this is a women problem, because it's, when it comes to men and arousal, all we need is a picture and we're good. we just need a picture. And maybe some lubricant. We don't need much. Men don't need much to get aroused, like to get the job done. And we know how to get off. But there's a lot of women out here that they're so desensitized that they need a whole lot of, like, contraptions and all these things. Like, a man can fuck a fat bitch and still be able to get his release. But when it comes to women, it's a whole different. When it comes to the opposite, it's a whole other discussion.
And if they don't receive it, they have to seek out more extreme pornography, bestiality, and then they end up on child sexual abuse materials.
So she's describing low-key the dark web in general, but who are we seeing? Like the people that are reading the most, the bestiality kind of related type stuff, it's mainly younger women reading that kind of stuff. It's not really young men reading that kind of stuff.
When I was investigating child sex offenders, they used pornography as a fill-in when they couldn't reach a child. And this is why I think that we are now creating pedophiles through the porn that they're watching.
Okay. But I bet you if I presented it like this to this woman, she's going to change her whole stance. Because pornography, they only use that as something to put that on men. It's not, once they start diving into the women and the books that they read, the material that they're reading, the content that they're consuming, when it comes to these films. And then on top of that, that industry is dominated by women. It's mostly women in these videos. So I just don't understand how women have been able to escape the accountability of the pornography discussion. They only put that on men for some weird reason, even though it's an industry dominated by women. But it is what it is on that situation. So right here, let's look at some of the chat. Yeah, those romantic novels, because it's not, let's call it what it is, these erotic novels. Yeah, Pyro is correct. So Pyro said women have a lot of toys and horse D-rods for toys. Yes, they do. Believe it or not, yes, they do. I've been on Twitter. And first, bruh, they have these kind of toys. I remember there was like a woman that went viral on Twitter because she was showing off her animal molded dildos that she had. She had like one for a dog. She had one for a horse. I was like, are they going to arrest this? I was like, remember that black chick that had that video that went viral? She was like, why nobody called the cops? I've been looking for that video for a long time. That would be the perfect soundbite. But I saw that post. I was like, yo, I'm like, nobody finna call the cops on her. You got these furries, right? These women that like to cosplay as these things. But yeah, they literally have dog toys for women. And I'm like, they're just allowed to have something. They make something like this and they're not getting arrested. How? But you got these whole ass ninjas trying to beat up on dudes. Like you got these dudes trying to make these predator content with with a bait 17-year-old or an 8. No. Remember those guys that got that beat up a dude? He was like a 24-year-old dude, and he was meeting up with an 18-year-old dude, and they beat him up for meeting with an 18-year-old. I'm like, 18 is the age you consent. So dudes will do that to a guy like this, but for a woman that has literal animal molded dildos, and people just look over it. How? But this is what people do. The simps are the simps are the simps. the simps are the simps. I find it interesting when it comes to the the pedophile discussion, right? You'll see a guy pop out of nowhere and he'll be like, man, if I find out one of these pedophiles did something, I'm gonna take my shotgun and blah blah blah. But when they find out it's a woman pedophile, all of a sudden that conversation of deleting people, it goes away. I'm like, well, if a pedophile is a pedophile, if a pedophile is the worst of the worst, That should be gender neutral. A pedophile is a pedophile. But then all of a sudden, nobody want to kill nobody no more. Nobody want to delete nobody no more. What? Okay. All right. Anyway, let's bring up one of these things here. Nah, I'm not gonna. Okay, let's bring up this thing right here. So let's read the full article of the Texas bill, where a place full of Republicans, mind you, full of Republicans. They're trying to pass a bill where a man will have to pay child support before the kid is even born. I don't know how in God's name, so-called based people could pass something like this. But this is why, the conservatives, like the so-called conservatives, they never. I try to tell people, like, these people do not impress me, man. They just do not impress me. Right. So let's read the full article. It says fathers could be ordered to pay retroactive child support from the moment of conception under a bill that passed the Texas Senate this week. Right. And just to put a reminder out there, it says the bill still needs to pass the House. So it's not something that's official yet. It needs to go through the House first before it gets passed. Right. So how does child support currently work in Texas? Currently in Texas, child support doesn't take effect until the child is born, which is obviously everywhere. Retroactive child support is typically limited to 4 years back from the time of filing, unless there is evidence the man knew or should have known he was the father and tried to avoid supporting the child. And even then, like, language like that, anyways. They say, what is SBN 42? Under Texas SBN 42, a judge could order retroactive child support payments beginning on the date of conception instead of at birth. Even though I don't even know how in God's name they're going to be able to determine that. This is going to be a haven for scammers to do what they do. But okay, continuing reading from the article, I'm saying, sorry, my bad. The father would be responsible for a share of reasonable and necessary prenatal and postnatal health care expenses. Paternity would have to be established. Okay. They say the date of conception would be determined by a doctor through other evidence such as parents' testimony. Okay, at least they're saying paternity would have to be established. At least they're saying that. But the problem is with a bill like this, when a bill gets passed like this, I could see another state passing a bill similar to this, but them removing the paternity part being established, I could see them passing a bill like this and then them removing the paternity part. I could see them doing that. I could see a state doing that. So that's the problem I have with this bill. To say the date of conception would be determined by a doctor or through other evidence such as a parent's testimony. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that. They say the bill heads to the House. The bill is not law yet. The House would have to pass it, and then the governor would need to sign it. Okay. Now, the only way, is that the only way for them to somehow sneakily pass a mandatory paternity test type thing? Maybe that's the only way they can do it, but still, I don't like the bill. I don't like it. I don't like the bill. I just don't understand how you can pass a bill like that without passing mandatory paternity tests. Even though they're saying for them to even pass in terms of retroactive child support to be put on a man, they have to establish paternity. Well, duh. But I'm afraid that a state will take it another step further by like, or even that could probably be challenged. Where they remove the paternity part and you still owe somebody some money. So that is my worry about that bill. Educated Tyrone, what's up, bro? I think it was an educated Pookie. He said, "Dang, I'm late." This Tyrone. Oh yeah, I know. Oh man. Oh yeah. So yeah. So these guys, they made like a To Catch a Predator. They jumped a dude who was trying to date an 18-year-old, and I'm like, guys, 18 is the age of consent, but that's the the power of women and them pushing that. If you're looking for an 18 and 19-year-old, you're a predator. That's the power of propaganda. That's the power of propaganda. Now you got dudes doing their dirty work of bitter old bitches beating up dudes looking for an 18-year-old. I'm like, you dumbasses are gonna go to jail over this, right? Yo. But even then, like women are very insecure about like let's keep it but like women are super insecure about younger women. Like they're so insecure about it. It's laughable. Like I remember doing fuck it, I'm gonna put this bitch on blast. Fuck it. I got time. Let me put this bitch on blast. Let me bring up my cousin's channel real quick. So I remember I did an interview with my cousin, and we did a video with this broad Z. We're gonna name her Z for short because her name starts with a Z. And I found it interesting because I was mentioning like the women I was dating or the women that I was trying to date or date. And anytime I kept mentioning like 19-year-old, 20-year-old, she kept getting like she started giving me like the death stare because she's in her 30s. But like it just proved that like women, they're just I want to put you guys onto the video because I don't know if my cousin edited out that part of the video. But anytime I started mentioning that, she started getting like super like uncomfortable and shit. I'm like, God, 18 and 19, is the age of consent, particularly in California, but in most states, it's actually 16. But most dudes, they don't even want to say that because dudes they don't want to be, they don't want to have that predator label put on them, Let me see if I can find that video so you guys could watch it in the future. Peggy Sue, is it this one? Oh yeah, this is it. I found it. Yes, sir. I want you guys to, if you guys have the chance, first of all, please subscribe to my cousin, by the way. But yeah, this is one that, like I know you can barely see me, I know. I know you can barely see me in this, but because I didn't rewatch the interview, but if you guys get the chance, you'll see like in the middle of the interview, in the middle of the podcast, I kept mentioning like 19, 20-year-olds, and she kept getting like super uncomfortable about that shit. Like she was just like cringing. I was like, what am I saying something wrong by mentioning 19, 20-year-olds or something? What the fuck? Mind you, I was 24 or 23 when I did that interview. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, 2023 I was I was 24. Yeah, I was 24 when I did that. I was 24 when I did that, Jake.
Like I didn't want to dance with them, like I really just wouldn't. Like I picked, like I'm the same way. Like I'm not gonna fake. Like I'm one of those people. Like if I fuck with you, I'm gonna know.
No more. I just don't want, because now the job that the nigga had. Well, see, no, because fucking with you.
Yeah. One day I got to do like a review of one of these interviews that I did. Well, not interviews, but one of those the shows that I did with my cousin. One day I got to review like my own self doing these things. I gotta do that. I gotta do that one time. I definitely got to do that one day. I doing my own review. Let me see. So Pyro said, wait, Chris, so your name can't even be on the kid's birth certificate. Well, they're saying that paternity has to be established first. So I guess that's a good thing, but I'm afraid that a state is going to take it a step further where somebody's going to owe child support retroactively, even if they don't do paternity. You know, that's my fear. That's my fear. Because I don't want that. Like that shit. That shit is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for disaster right here. But this, yeah, like this can't, like I said, this can't be good. It cannot be good. It can't be good. You know. Let me see. Oh yeah, by the way, I think tomorrow. Oh fuck. I thought I was gonna be off tomorrow. Never mind. Cause it's never damn. By the way, any musicians listening, you need to put yourself in a situation where if certain people are asking you to travel to rehearsal, they need to, especially if you got to travel long distance, because I had a setup with a certain group where they would pay for my gas and all that for rehearsal, but make sure you have a situation where they're paying you for your rehearsal, especially if you got to travel long distances. Because I knew I was rehearsing with this one group and I had to travel for rehearsal, and they would always make sure I was straight with gas and all that. I always respected that, but make sure, because look, when it comes to rehearsal, I'm not saying I don't feel like I have to rehearse, but I always know all my stuff for the most part, particularly with this band that I'm with. It's the stuff is easy, you know, the stuff is, I'm not saying I don't feel like I don't need to rehearse, but especially the stuff that I'm doing now is easy compared to the stuff that I used to do. And I'm having the most fun with this band, but all them rehearsals, all them rehearsals, nah. He said, man, I hate traveling. Yeah. But yeah, make sure if you're a musician, man, make sure they're paying you for your rehearsals. Particularly if you're like a really good musician. Because obviously, like for like studio time, like I got to get paid for that. But and obviously, you make exceptions for the people that you want to play with, obviously. But make sure your time is being compensated outside of just shows. That's basically the point I'm trying to put out. Like not just shows. Make sure you're getting paid outside of shows. You know. By the way, I'm gonna have to look for, because I don't want to just be limited in the future. Even though I'll be in my 30s, in the 5 years from now, I want to be able to learn more instruments in terms of, so I can get like more opportunities out there to do certain things. That would be, I'm gonna start attending like some of these music clinics of the music, because what I always say is look at the musicians that you want to be like and just see what they're doing. See what clinics they're going to, see what help they're getting, instead of just winging it and just like, I don't want to follow this. Nah, follow what he's doing. See what he's doing. See if he's dropping any clinics. See if he's dropping any tutorials. See if he's, he or she, mind you, she if it's a she as well. See what they're doing, and see what else you can do. See if you can mimic what he's doing, so you can get to where you want to be. Because you want to follow if you want to be at a certain spot in life, see what they're doing and see if there's things on your end, if you can follow suit, But I'm gonna be watching over that bill. I want to make sure it doesn't get messed up. I don't want them to edit certain things, because there's I like the paternity part. Like paternity has to be established, but I think they're gonna edit that. Or if it doesn't get passed, it's because the paternity part, the mandatory paternity test part, is going to stay. Like say if they're saying we will only pass this bill, we're keeping that paternity test part. Paternity has to be established before you can get retroactive child support. So if it doesn't pass, it's because that part stayed. So it'll be, whatever. Because I think they're going to try to edit it and try to take that part out. Because women, they love that part. Oh, retroactive child support, getting child support at the time of conception. But then once they see that part, paternity must be established before you can even do something like that. Now, then they're going to be like, wait a minute. But I could see definitely like, married women taking advantage of this bill, women that are about to divorce their husband trying to take advantage of this bill. I could see, women like this trying to take advantage of this. So that is my fear. But anyways, I think this time I got all my bases covered. Let me just check Instagram one more time, make sure I'm not missing anything. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any breaking news. Oh, apparently the WNBA draft is going on right now. I give a fuck with the. Respectfully, I could give two shits. Respectfully, I could care less. I could care less. Who got drafted number one? I said, but then I'm on. Okay, so Paige Becker's got the bitch from UConn. She got picked number one to the Dallas Wings. Okay. Well, that's pretty much to be expected because oh my God, we got this dumb Negro in here talking about talking about Juju Watkins is still in college, bruh. She's in college, nigga. God damn. They see one man. Low key, he was hating on the white bitch. That's what he was doing. Juju Watkins is still in college, bruh. She's not draft eligible yet. Oh my God. Anyways, okay. So I guess the WNBA draft is going on. Sorry, you should have seen the comment. I didn't put it on the screen, but this ninjas be making themselves look stupid on here sometimes. Oh my God. But yeah, nothing. I haven't seen anything yet. Oh yeah, and nah, let me leave that alone. But anyways. Yeah, nothing crazy so far. I'm not missing anything crazy. Just making sure I do my rounds, do my due diligence before I sign off. Oh man. Oh, let me see. Oh, actually, let me bring this up. I saw something. I just saw something real quick. Let me bring this up. Let me see what y'all think about this. Pause. Let me see what y'all think about this. What the? Where's my post? Oh, right here. Let me see what y'all think about this. The controversial story that I forgot about. Let me see this. I was supposed to cover this story, but I've been busy. Let me see. This one right here, the Carmelo Anthony thing. So they're saying Carmelo Anthony, the kid that had stabbed the Austin Metcalf at the track meet. So they said he was released on bond after judge lowered the amount from $1 million to $250,000. Damn. What kind of evidence did they get? God damn. So the bail was initially $1 million. They lowered it to a quarter of $1,000,000, and he was released on bail. So anybody that doesn't know about that, yeah, Carmelo Anthony. Let's see. Let me let the video play. Let me let the video play. I don't hear any sound on that. I don't hear no sound on that. See, Carmelo Anthony is 17-year-old charged with the murder.
We're up.
Why were you armed? Carmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your.
The Caucasian bitch sprinted to that nigga. Oh man. But yeah, anybody that doesn't know, that was the viral news. I don't even know why that story was viral. I even know why that story was viral, but unfortunately what the TV, the TV programming is doing is they're playing on the race, right? So they know that they're showing black kid in situation with white kid. They know it's a ratings boost. It's a ratings boost from a very unfortunate situation. So they're gonna play on the normies relying on race on this one. And you know, like when I first heard the story, you know what the first thing I heard, what I thought in my mind? I was like, I swear to God, I said a bish better not be involved in this story. That's the first thing I was like, yo, I swear to God, if a bish was involved in this, I'm going to throw my laptop in the ocean. I'm going to go the next time I take a trip to New York. I'm just gonna go to the Hudson, just toss it. And I'm just gonna toss my laptop. Because you got people crashing out online over this damn story. People throwing away logic. I'm talking about black people and white people throwing logic out the window, calling people names, people losing their friendships over this story. I'm just sitting there like, oh my God. Like, whether you think who's in the wrong or right, I don't think whatever opinion you have of this story, I don't know why people are crashing out over people's opinions over this story. Like, I remember seeing the story and I didn't even do no research on it, really. I looked at the profile and then I heard the story and I was just like, wow, that's unfortunate. And I just moved on. But apparently this story just I'm like, why is this story growing legs? Why has this story blown up in the media? Because I don't even care. But you know, like I said, the media is the real devil, because they knew the more they promoted this story, they knew they kept playing to the race of it. And even like if this was an incident between two black kids, two black boys or two white boys, this wouldn't even be a story. This wouldn't even be a story. Nobody would even care. You know, but you know, too many like the normies, the normies, they fell for this story. They fell for it. Like, I'm talking about black people and white people. Pyro said the white people are gonna rage, but like I said, like this story. Do you guys remember Thornton the Fifth? Do you remember his comment earlier on? Why don't people learn to keep their hands to themselves? And that could literally solve all these issues that we got. All these issues that we got. Remember what Thornton the Fifth, aka Trevor, remember what he said earlier on in this chat? Keep your hands to yourself. And that could literally just solve all these problems. Because the way I saw this, I'm gonna keep it a buck. This before I did any research on his story. So forgive me on this. Before I did any research on his story, I was like, damn. This motherfucker ran on the wrong. He ran up on the wrong one on the wrong day. You know what I mean? Because the way I saw the way it was described, the way it was described to me was basically, dude was in a tent. Dude walked up on him and told him to leave, and things escalated. I'm like, whoa, how the fuck? How? Somebody got stabbed to death? How did that shit happen? and I remember thinking, I'm hoping Austin Metcalf didn't run up on him on some bully stuff. I was like, because I was looking at that story. I'm like, I hope he didn't walk up to him like aggressively under the tent, whatever, you know. Or if there is a twist to the story where a bitch is involved, where what the hell this kid name? I'm already blanking on his name. Carmelo. I'm like, hopefully Carmelo wasn't waiting for him under the tent and waiting for somebody over a bish. I'm like, I hope that wasn't the case, or vice versa. But at first I'm looking at it, I'm like, it looks like homie try to bark orders at somebody and dude wasn't having it. Then all of a sudden you start hearing from witnesses, oh, he got jumped. And then you start hearing from witnesses, oh, they knew each other. You see people saying, oh, this picture, they knew each other. I'm like, wait, which story is real? Which story is not? Because people are telling me all types of different stories about this. But bottom line, this could have all been avoided if people kept their hands to themselves. Both sides, mind you, both sides. This all could have been prevented. All could have been prevented. Let me see. Educated Pookie said, them snowflakes mad at Carmelo. Educated Pookie said, yeah, that story only went viral because of the media race baiting. Like, if this was a story between two white kids, two white boys, or two black boys, nobody would have cared. This really should show men how expendable you are. I'm talking to, I'm like, why can't men not see this? This is a race baiting ass story. Because honestly, I could care less what happens to Carmelo or Austin Metcalf dying. I literally could care less, respectfully, because I don't know these people. But this should show dudes how expendable you are. Because if it was a situation with two niggas or two white people, or was it two Caucasian boys, they wouldn't care. No, the media would not care about the story. You know, Shadow Dog Law said Charleston White went on some white dude's channel and was talking about how he shouldn't be having weapons in school and that he deserves to go to prison. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I didn't see Charleston White's reaction. But when it comes to this weapon stuff, like, it's interesting how the roles have reversed. Like now, this is when, like I said, when it comes to the weapons discussion, now people are saying that Carmelo shouldn't have had a weapon, right? Or, you know, a knife or whatever he was having. You have the Republicans now siding with Austin and now saying he shouldn't, like, Carmelo shouldn't have a weapon. And now the liberals are now pro weapons. It's like the small hat country situation. You have the liberals sticking up for Palestine. For that spot, and then you have the Republicans being pro small hat. It's supposed to be reversed, but you know. He said the online creators feeding the fire. Yeah, facts. This is a race baiting ass story. It's really actually sad. The story's actually sad as hell. It all could have been prevented. These guys that ended up fighting over nothing, they probably could have been like best friends if they went into college, but unfortunately they ended up checking out. Like, homie, do you know how many guys that I knew? I legitimately would have fought them to the death if I had met them like 2 or 3 years prior. I'm talking about literally would have fought them to the death. One of us would have had to, you know, check out of here over nothing. Because people don't understand that young men's adrenaline, that testosterone is a muff. Like, I remember that I'll be putting a lot of stories out there, but I remember talking about a story on this channel where I was playing pickup, right, with these high school kids. I didn't know they were high school kids. They just looked young, right? And I was doing my thing and I got fouled by this one guy and I landed wrong on one of my arms. And because of just the adrenaline and of me of possibly getting hurt, in my mind, I wanted to smack this dude, but I controlled myself. But I was fine. And then I was like mad at this dude for literally the rest of the game. Then the next day, I play pickup. He's there. He wants to. They start picking teams manually. He picked his homeboy and goalkeeper first and defense first, and then he's like, okay, I need an attacker. Okay, Chris. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, you the best one here, bro. And then I was hearing him talk, like literally talking me up to his friends, like, oh man, this guy is awesome. He's the typical small striker, small as hell, but he be getting past everybody. You know what I mean? He was talking me up. This guy was a 14. I didn't know this guy was like 14, 15 years old. And he was talking me up. And now imagine my dumb ass fighting him over nothing. And this guy's 15, 14 years old. And meanwhile, he's talking me up like, oh, this guy's awesome. This dude is this. He looks up to me. And here I am, a 26-year-old, about to fight this motherfucker. And he didn't even know that I even had that kind of animosity. So people don't even understand, when it comes to the adrenaline, the testosterone, especially when it comes to sports, how it could just hit you just like that. Just like that. You get a rush of blood and you do something stupid. And if you're not raised to have control, self-control, or if you're a person, you're on your last straw, luckily, it was a regular day. It's a summer day. This happened in July or August. It's hot outside. I'm in my element, so it's all good. I'm not tripping over that. But sometimes you just get a rush of blood. Even when you're playing, you could be playing against your friends and you just get a rush of blood out of nowhere. Let me see. Educated Pookie said a story like this happened in Philly, but the guy got acquitted completely. That one was proven to be clear-cut self-defense. I remember stories like this happen all the time. You'll have friends fighting over nothing. One dude ends up getting seriously hurt, and that wasn't even the intended, consequence of that situation. Somebody ends up getting seriously hurt, or somebody ends up dying over nothing, Let me see. Truth Hunter says could have insulted his hoe. Remember this incident in 2010 where this one person was stabbed for insulting someone's feet. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. When men get into it, or particularly you talking about young teenage boys get into it, this is why we try to instill self-control. You know what I mean? You try to instill, look, don't do this, don't do that. Even like I remember, like usually now this is where I'll say this is where race does play a part in this. Usually, if you're in a setting where you see a black boy, right, in a predominantly white environment, and you see him at a spot where you think, oh, he's looking shady, he's looking sketchy, you're not really supposed to approach a guy like that. Or if you are going to approach him and you don't know what kind of energy he's on, you can't come up to him like you're the police. You know what I mean when I say that? You can't come up to him like he's the police. He's going to get sensitive, right? So and this is where race does play a role. Like, remember the white dude, Kyle Rittenhouse, right? The white dudes that ended up dying, because of Kyle Rittenhouse, those are some dumbass white dudes. Because what ninja is gonna approach a white dude with an AK-47, a young white dude with an AK-47, and try to do anything to him? Even a grown-ass ninja is not going to pull it. But that white dude ended up finding out the hard way and ended up meeting his maker, unfortunately. I'm not walking up to no teenage Caucasian dude with an AK. during a protest where emotions are high. I ain't finna do none of that. That's crazy. So that's where race, I guess, does play a role. But that's in the situation. When it comes to the media, though, trying to magnify this story, they ain't shit for that. They ain't shit for that. What a bait story, though. What a bait story. He said, "You cuz you nice at football." Nah, it's just like I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there, man. Yep, right here. Yep. Pyro said Chris was gonna beat up a 14-year-old boy by mistake. I was about to not necessarily beat him up, but sometimes something happens and you push somebody. Now, I've never had to do that. I haven't had to do that past the age of 19. I haven't had to do that yet. I haven't had to do that yet. Past the age of 19, I haven't had to push anybody. Even when I was playing like full time, when I was younger, I haven't had to do that because I never was a physical. I'll say past high school age, I wasn't like a physical type of player, but I still get that rush of blood when I play sometimes. And here I am. Say if I even forget push him, imagine if I yelled at him, the damage that would have done. Imagine if and now I'm finding out this kid is 14, 15 years old. And I'm the OG on the field. I'm 26. I'm 26. But this is where self-control comes in. Now, mind you, I know this one dude that's my age, and I want to fight him right now. That's the guys around my age. Just one dude that I know. I told you that story about the guy illegally tackling me from behind that could have messed up my legs. Like next time I do pickup, if I see him, I might talk to him for a little bit. And mind you, that guy is like way bigger than me. But just off GP, I might have to talk to him. I might have to talk to him. So it's just when it's two dudes going at it, this is the results of what could possible. What did Bernie Mac say? What could possible happen? Right. That's what Bernie Mac said. I'm showing what could possible happen. When two men are going at it over nothing, it could literally end up in death. This is why men are like taught, like when y'all talking to each other, you got to talk. You can't. You have to be respectful. You have to be respectful. Even if, like, say, if you thought, even if Austin Metcalf thought he was in the wrong tent, whatever, you gotta relax. You gotta relax, right? You just can't walk up on certain people, man. You just can't do that. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. Because that can happen to anybody. Let me see. Educated Pookie said, but snowflakes have no issues with Rittenhouse getting donations for his defense only when Carmelo does it. Oh yeah, I did see on Twitter where is that true that they really try to block Carmelo Anthony getting money for his defense fund? Is that true? Is that official? Did they really try to shut off his GoFundMe for his defense fund? Somebody's got to confirm that for me in the chat because I don't know. I don't know. But if that's true, come on, that's not fair. Like that's not fair. Like even George Zimmerman had like a GoFundMe, like not a GoFundMe, but he got money. We can't do that. Now that's not right. That's not right. Okay, so Educated Pookie said also 2 kids were much bigger than him. So yeah. Like, so when I started delving more into the story, I'm starting to see like now witnesses are coming forward and saying that like 2 specific witnesses are coming forward and they're saying that he got that basically they were they were on some bully, not necessarily jumping him, even though one of the guys did say that they were jumping Carmelo Anthony, but basically the is that they were kind of on some bully type stuff. Austin Metcalf and I don't know if it was his brother or his friend or his twin, whatever. But basically Austin Metcalf and his boy, I think it was his brother, I can't remember, but they basically came up to him on some bully type stuff. That's basically the consensus when I'm looking at these stories and the witnesses saying what they were saying. So I hope that's not what happened, because then that puts into, okay, he might have been, scared for his life, fighting for his life, right? But like I said, I would try to tell people, stop running up on people you don't know. Like, if you don't know these people, why y'all doing this? Y'all doing too much, right? Let me see. Carmelo, he said Carmelo like 160 pounds and around my height. That dude was over 6 feet and 220. I'm not fighting 2 linebackers. Yeah, that is true. The measurements are accurate. Carmelo, he wasn't like a super small dude, but the 2 people that approached him were bigger than Carmelo. Those are facts. I did confirm that. Let me see. He said, if one big dude is up in your personal space pushing you, it's not like you have an eternity to respond. Let me see. Educated Pookie says people ignore that. Yeah. But back to me, because I don't even really care about this case. Back to me. I know I'm being selfish here, but back to me. But I'll say this. That is one part I did not like when I did see that he had like a GoFundMe, and people were saying that like there was a specific person trying to block the GoFundMe. That's come on. That's not right. Now that's not right. And whatever happened to let's wait for his day in court. Let's wait for the trial. Let's wait for the facts to come out. But everybody just went and picked sides. I'm like, let's wait until certain facts come out. Let's wait for his day in court. Let's wait for his day in court. But yeah, but people you can't just walk up on people though, because you don't know if they carrying guns. You don't know if they got a knife. Educated Pookie says, I don't carry weapons. He said, back to the main event. Yeah. But anyways, just, back to, the nonsense. I'll say for me personally, maybe that story, let me use that story as a wake-up call for me, right? Because there's certain dudes right now, if I saw him, like, it's not gonna be, I'm not saying I'm gonna fight them, but it's not like, I remember like I saw one kid, it's one dude from high school that had saw me somewhere, but in my opinion, when I think of him, I think of the negative stuff that happened between us, right? And guys like that, like you could tell if I didn't really fuck with him or not. It's just like I used to hold my tongue in high school, so because I didn't want to get into trouble with people. So now if I meet them on later on in life, I keep the conversation short and simple. You could like people can tell if I don't really fuck with you. Like I'll just give them the handshake and I'll just be like, yep, everything's been good. No. Yep. It's a complete difference. I make it very clear that I want nothing to do with you. I don't say it, but I make it very clear. Right? So there's certain people like I don't if I don't fuck with you, I'm not gonna go out my way, bro. I won't even mention your name. Right? So maybe I got to use it as a wake up call. Just let me treat the guy that I have beef with currently, that I have aggressive feelings toward. Let me take that as a lesson to me. Like, you know what? If like, say if he came to me in a like, because I know he's not gonna apologize, because he didn't. He's not even come close to like. If he apologized, I'd have been like, he'd be like, look, I felt a certain type of way when you did this. That's why I did that. All right. I apologize for that. If he literally came up to me and do that, it's squashed easily. I can easily squash that. I can put that behind me. But since I know he's not even coming close to apologize, even though he was clearly in the wrong, that's why I still have these aggressive feelings. But maybe let me take this as a lesson as, you know what? Fuck it. I'll squash it I'll forgive the situation in my head, because now if I retaliate back on him, and now what if he comes out of nowhere with his knife and I get stabbed up? And people might think it's extreme, but nah. People on the wrong, if I catch him on the wrong day, what if he pulls up on me with a weapon? You never know. You never know, man. Because people are very, because me personally, I've never been a weapons type of guy. I never carry. I don't even have a guns license. I've never carried a gun. I've never fired a gun. I've never used a knife on anybody. Anytime I've threatened anybody, it's been with my own hands. Anytime anything I do is with my hands and my feet. I've never used a weapon. I never felt the need to have a weapon, right? But you have to understand, there are people out there, they got something on them. They got, whether it be a knife, a firearm, a slingshot, something. They got something on them to assist them. Or they got somebody that has something to assist them. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Let me use that as a lesson for myself. But but the normies, they're just gonna they're gonna just laser focus in on the story. And the story doesn't even matter. Right? The story doesn't even matter. It's almost like, let me bring up OJ Simpson. For the life of me, I do not know why white people care about this OJ Simpson so much. For the life of me, I know ninjas took it too far. I will admit it. And ninjas did take it too far. For the life of me, I do not know why they cared so much that OJ was found innocent in the court that day. I don't know. I do not know why they took that so personally. For the life of me, I do not know why they care, because really the story is, this is what happens. Like, say if you think OJ did it, the story is not even the murder itself. It's the story is, this is what happens when a man, if you're a woman and you're still taking money from a man, he's still paying alimony, he's still paying child support, whatever, and you just flossing it in his face, messing with another man in his car that he bought. Maybe women should take that story as, forget the men. Maybe women should take that as a lesson, as, damn, it can get that far. But no, people focus on just the aftermath and just, oh, this is evil. But oh man. Educated Pookie said, I like these multi-purpose streams, Chris. We got a little bit of everything: sports, news, philosophy, manosphere, content, entertainment, facts. Thank you for that, man. Because really, maybe it's just me, and because I am a weirdo, but I feel like people focus on the wrong things. Because I'm pretty sure if I if I tell these people, because this is the point right here with the Carmelo Anthony story. Imagine if this was, I'm like, bro, if this was two black boys that got into it, same outcome, we wouldn't even care. Now let's take two white boys, they got into it. You would have been like, damn, that's unfortunate. But nobody would care. Nobody. Do you understand how? Do you understand how, like the damnation of that as a young boy? Your story is not going to matter unless if it's like race involved, or if it can give the media, the news outlets ratings, if it can generate clicks. Your life is expendable. And this should also give a lesson to young men this. Because I bet you they got into it in their fight, whatever. I bet you these guys became like college roommates. Say if hands were involved and there was no bitches involved and it was just a matter of a fight and Carmelo Anthony didn't take out a knife. Say if it was a fair fight between two men and there was like, because unfortunately with this situation, it was 2 versus 1, it looks like, according to the reports. But say if it was a 1v1 type deal, Austin Metcalf versus Carmelo Anthony, right? No knife involved. They get into a fight. Somebody breaks it up. Nobody gets suspended, whatever. Imagine if they become like roommates on like they would have been best friends after that. Do you remember like back in the day, like it used to be like you'd see like two dudes fighting. They survive the fight and then they become like super close right afterwards. Whatever happened to those days, man? But maybe that's just me reminiscing on the past that, But I remember back in it'll be like two dudes that fought like to the death, and then you see them literally the next day, friends, like nothing happened. Whatever happened to that? But life can be like that sometimes, man. Life can be like that. Truth Hunter says, sleight of hand trick. They put something in your face and keep the most important shit hitting. Yeah, like I'm not even when I see something like I'm like, oh, they just trying to give something to keep the normies, entertained. You know what I mean? And they're just gonna use the death of that young man, Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, and they're just going to milk this. They're just going to milk this. Really, because as a young man, you should really be discouraged when you see something like this, because it's really the story is a nothing burger. And anybody that gets offended when I say this, I'll be like, bro, if it was two white dudes going at it, nobody would care. A white dude got stabbed by another white dude while getting jumped, or if it was a 1v1, whatever the reports say, nobody would care. That's very discouraging. But anyways, shout out to you guys, man. Thank you for tuning in. Did I go a little bit over time? I went a little bit over time, but I had time tonight, man. Maybe I'll give a synopsis of the Carmelo Anthony story, but I really don't care about that story. I just find it very unfortunate that the story became what it became, because it's not supposed to be that big of a deal. It's really not supposed to be. This is the unfortunate things when men go at it. Particularly you talking about teenage boys, this could happen. Especially when you're talking about when weapons are involved. This is the stuff that can happen when two young boys full of testosterone go at it. These guys were probably friends in another past life. You know what I mean? These guys are probably friends in another past life. Say they end up like it's not even like this is just the unfortunate circumstances. What happens if when two young men go at it over nothing. And I swear to God, if there is a woman involved in this story, I might lose it. I might lose it. If there is a woman involved in this story, if somebody thought he fucked this bitch, or if Carmelo Anthony thought he fucked, if there is a bitch involved in this story, I will literally just be like, I might have to show my face again and just to show you how disappointed I am. If there is a bitch involved in this story, I might lose it. I might lose it. Some little prissy bitch comes out of nowhere. Well, I did tell him that he, nigga. I will be so mad if there is a woman involved in this story. I will be so mad. I'm like, bruh. You know what I mean? But anyway, shout out to you guys, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Oh, shout out to Shadow Dog Law and Long Live the King for the super chats. Shadow Dog Law with a $2.99 super sticker. Long Live the King with the super chat, the $5 super chat. And with him talking about the 52-year-old manifesting getting married. So shout out to you guys, man. Take care. What video should I leave this out on? What will be the outro video for this? Yeah, next stream must be fire. But like I said, if there's a woman involved with that Carmelo Anthony story, I don't know what I'm gonna do to myself. Pray for me, like please pray for me, because I'm going to be upset. I will be upset for the rest of the day. I'm just gonna literally just be like, better not be no woman involved in that story. Better not be. It better not be. But anyway, shout out to you guys. I don't know what the outro video. Not sure what to put here. Not sure what to put here. But yeah, we'll just do Corey Holcomb like we usually do. Just as a reminder for the normies. Peace out.
Exactly. I was with Floyd Mayweather. When I met him, I couldn't believe it. Floyd was like, hey, what's up, man? This my fiance, this my girl. They was both standing right there. That's what paper do, boy. You got that paper, people fall in line.
I don't care for that.
Now, it's a shame that people fall in line because of the paper, but this is a fact. If you got that paper, you can bring your whole family to the barbecue. Not the family you had. I'm talking about if you got that bread, you can bring everybody to the barbecue and demand they act like they got some goddamn sense. That's my boy about her. That's my boy about him.